Hey everyone, welcome to the second day of the StarCraft 2 AI Arena tournament. I am here with Ketroc, hey,
Hey guys.
and Laughing Games. Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
really good to have you back. Had some really fun games last week. So the first week saw every bot in action. Um,
hmm
and tonight we're going to see every bot in action again for the second time. We're going to see hopefully some closer games this week. But we had some
So
fun
all the
ones.
0-1 bots are playing each other, and all the 1-0 bots are playing each other. Is that correct?
Yeah. So every
Okay, gotcha.
basically, bots will only play each other if they have the same record in this tournament. Well, actually, yeah, even all the way to the final, actually. So, this is nice and cute. So, yeah, today we have 8 games coming up for you, and I will show you them now. We have in the upper bracket, it's Xena and Micro Machine. Ketroc and Eris is going to be a fun game. Really looking forward to that one. Zozo DominionDog. And ThomTest was thrown a bit to the wolves after his upset victory. I call it an upset victory. And he's thrown a bit to the wolves against NegativeZero, but we'll see what happens there. In the lower round, we have Caninana versus 12 Paul. One Test and Thheo, both of our new bots playing each other, which is going to be good. And I can't believe I'm seeing this in the lower bracket, but BenBotBC against SharpenedEdge. That's going to be a fun one. And Terrain against Sharkbot. Uh, any games you're looking forward to there?
This first series will be interesting
Yeah,
because I don't know much about terrain, and I always enjoy watching Sharkbot. So
yeah,
Terrain looked decently well rounded as well as a bot can do against Eris last week, and yeah, we'll see whether it's able to maybe make one of those timing attacks work against Sharkbot, as Sharkbot is quite a lethal bot if you do let it get to the late game. So we'll see how it does.
yeah, definitely Sharkbots. Also, I mean, Micro Machine always puts up a good fight. Xena, uh, it's going to be fun because Xena plays random, and like I was looking into some of the records of Xena against Micro Machine, and it does seem like it's very much kind of race dependent. So we'll see how that goes as well. But yeah, um, all right. I think we've got some stats on our first matchup, which is going to be
what do you got?
Sharkbot coming up. It's the 11th seed in the tournament, which is a strange one because normally Sharkbot would be higher with an elo of 1856. Lost its first
hmm
game against Zozo, um, but yeah, still very much in the tournament. Like Nobot should be completely disheartened by losing the first game, definitely. And up against Terrain. Actually seeded 12th, so it's 11th versus 12th in our first game, and
Mm.
come with a 0-1 round against Eris, which unsurprising, but actually put up a better fight against Eris than I would have expected, definitely.
Yeah, it looked quite well rounded from what we saw. Like it had a pretty well put together push. Just Eris is an absolute monster. So we'll see. Like Sharkbot could very well be valuable to Terrain if Terrain does go for like a similar tank move out, and maybe it'll be able to pull it off. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I remember way back in the day there was a bot called Spud or Spude, I don't remember,
Yeah.
and he would always do like these like bio tank pushes against Eris, and before that it was Spiny, Eris 1.0 we'll say. And
Yeah.
yeah, those always made for really good matchups. It was always like a fight for Eris to like can he hold off the push and like get up to like a higher tech tier before he dies.
hmm
All right. Well, let's get into it anyway. Hold on.
Yeah. Let's go.
Right, so we'll see if we can just get the game capture up. There we go. All right, let's go.
All right, so spawning down here in the bottom right, we have the red Protoss. It is Sharkbot. And spawning in the top left, we have the blue Terran Terrain. Sharkbot's actually, he does have a random version of the bot. Obviously, his Protoss is the strongest, so that's the one we see in tournaments. But
Yeah,
maybe
and then
one day the random guy will come back. We'll see.
then the bot author also has Mecha Shark as well. So
Yeah, he's got a bot for each race, so then he's got like a random bot. So then I think whoever's performing the best. I think
We've
the
got
random bot's
double
actually called
probes.
Whale Meme, which is a nice play on the name of Sharkbot.
Yeah, we've got double probes moving out for Sharkbot as it goes for a proxy, seemingly, to start this match off. One pylon going down, double pylon, Sharkbot being the dirty bot that it is, showing us something cheeky already, as there is a gateway building seemingly at that pylon to the south there. Double gates.
Yeah, and no gas being taken, so this is going to be a lot of early game zealots. So I'm guessing the ploy of that first probe was to keep the ramp from being walled off. You know, throw down a pylon to make sure the Terran can't wall off. And at the very least, it pulls a lot of SCVs off the line. And there we go again.
Yeah.
Another pylon that doesn't complete the wall, leaving a gap for zealots to get in and
Yeah, and Terrain is not resuming the building of that Rax. Maybe not having behavior for that programmed. It is starting a second Rax, and it's doing a good job pulling SCVs against the pylons, but not completing your Rax is a pretty fatal thing for Terrans. So we'll see whether it can hold on with just SCVs until that second Rax presumably finishes up. Cancels another one of those pylons.
And even with no racks and no marines, if he finishes the wall and he's able to repair, that's all you need against the zealots, really. You can just wait for the marines. Because I still see no gas being taken by Sharkbot on his side of the map. So it's all about whether that wall gets up or not, because this is going to be a lot of zealots.
There goes a depot on the way up.
Yeah, he might be able to cut through that, though. Let's see what this zealot attacks. Going after the SCV first.
Already seen that Terrain doesn't have behavior to get an SCV to resume building on the rack, so it's probably the case with the supply depot, so that gets canceled. And Sharkbot is looking pretty good with a very dirty cheese. Now, a Reaper is on the way for Terrain, so we'll see how well it's going to micro that against the Zealots, as Sharkbot just is spamming those out.
Yeah, good chance the Reaper never dies, but, you know, can you kill Zealots 3 at a time that quickly? And the answer, of course, is no, unless you were talking Wings of Liberty Reapers.
Yeah, SCVs are being pulled, but they are just getting slaughtered here. The Zealots are targeting the SCVs as well. They're not just chasing the Reaper endlessly in a circle. And so Terrain is down to 8 workers. Sharkbot is BMing as always. And yeah, what a killer build by Sharkbot.
Yeah, very nice. Maybe if he got a little luckier, if the Zealots started attacking the completed depot, then he can maybe repair that and buy a whole ton of time, but by attacking the depot that just started on the wall, he was able to break in almost instantly.
Yeah, unfortunately, just, who knows? I'd be interested to see the exact same game if we saw Terrain get an SCV to resume building that Rax, because it would have had out like an extra Marine or maybe a Reaper earlier, so it might have had 2 Reapers out, who knows? But yeah, it's not really winnable when you don't resume your Rax buildings, so that might be a good ad for the bot author if they put out an update.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was a Stalker follow-up to that as well, so it's not like a wall would like end the game. Yeah, there was more to Sharkbot as he took gas and expanded as well.
Yeah, and that is one of the great things about Sharkbot. It can always just go into a very, very strong macro game. So
definitely.
Very nice. Well done, Sharkbot. Congratulations, Shark Nice, for the victory.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong early cheese there, especially if you don't complete the wall. I think if it got the wall up, you know, it probably would have given him a really good chance there, but Sharkbot managed to take out that depot quite quickly and take out the SCV building it, which was really good targeting. So yeah, you know, well done, Sharkbot.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
Yeah, I mean, we could be on for a quick stream here, guys.
Yeah, you never know.
It's okay. We've got Ketroc versus Eris. That's going to take a while, okay?
Yeah. You haven't faced Eris before, obviously.
Oh no, it does.
We'll see.
All right, let's have a look. Next up, we have BenBotBC. You beat him in the first game, but one of our older bots, and definitely one of the bots that is always there or thereabouts in tournaments. So
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're gonna potentially see that Tempest Rush from SharpenedEdge. It does seem to like that in the TVP matchup.
yeah, definitely.
And he's had some success against BenBot with that. Sometimes BenBot isn't just able to get up the anti-air in time. But yeah, I'm thinking BenBot's probably a little bit stronger nowadays. It used to be they're right around the same level, but with BenBot always getting small updates here and there, and Sharkbot's sorry, not Sharkbot, SharpenedEdge being a more or less a I don't know, a legacy bot, we'll say at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one that's been around a while, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Seeded 9th with an elo of 1898, lost its first game against DominionDog, and really like it's a surprise to see both of these bots in the lower bracket, definitely.
Yeah, that's just the nature of the bot scene these days, that there's so many good bots. Someone's got to lose and get
Yeah.
knocked down. Like, I don't look at any of the bots in this tournament and think, well, they're kind of duds. I think they've all really had a lot of work put into them and are quite incredible. So we'll see whether.
Yeah, and if you look at the most actively worked on bots right now, it's probably not the bots in the top 10, right? So there's these new up and comers always, and sometimes they crack in and start taking out the old veterans. So
Yeah, you have to really put in a lot of work to get into this tournament, and like we've got like what 50 bots on the ladder at the moment, and we're only seeing the top 16 of them. So there is definitely like a huge level you have to get to even qualify here. So no bot is going to be a dud, and every bot's going to have a lot of work done on it.
Yeah, the more advanced the bots and the higher on the ladder, the more well-rounded they are. So we tend to have really great games, and let's see how this one goes.
All right, I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
I will just set this up. There we go. All right, we go. It takes a couple of seconds. There we go.
Okay, so spawning down in the bottom right of Thunderbird, we have the Red Terran BenBotBC. And spawning in the top left, we have the veteran bot SharpenedEdge, the blue Protoss. So this is kind of an interesting map. It's not one I'm too familiar with, actually. I haven't played a lot of this ladder season. Is this from the current ladder, or is this one crypt that you chose to just kind of add to the...
Thunderbird is
Okay.
old at this point, I want to say. I
Yeah,
should remember this. I did a tournament last night.
yeah, we basically selected a bunch of old maps that were quite popular for our current ladder season, mainly because the new maps we can't always make work with the bots. So we generally try and select maps which work well with bots, which are very popular with bot authors, and hopefully will make good maps and good games.
Yeah, if you remember, like right before they sunset Starcraft 2, they had like this huge update to the map editor, which in one of those changes was that you can make as many terrain levels as you wanted. You weren't restricted to 3. So
Oh,
we're still
nice.
restricted to 3 in this. So any ladder map that comes out that has 4 terrain levels, we can't use. So
Okay.
we take as many as we can from the current BattleNet ladder, and then we fill in the rest with whatever, either carryover ones from the previous season or this season Crypt picked out some favors of his own, I guess.
That's a great insight on that. I didn't know that. Okay, so we
Yeah.
do have a bit of a proxy going up for BenBot, and it doesn't seem like it's BenBot's usual like one racks proxy marine bunker. It's actually going for Marauder slow with the second racks at home. SharpenedEdge seems to be aware of that though, saying, "Do you need a knife for that cheese?" So maybe aware that it's going to be getting rushed, and so SharpenedEdge seems to be staying on one base, getting up a Stalker and a Robo on the way. Now, if SharpenedEdge can get up to an Immortal, that will be incredibly good against any amount of Marauders that BenBot builds.
Yeah. I mean, Marauders are good against Immortals too, though. I mean, they both kill each other very, very fast. So put it that way. Marauders doing double damage versus armored units. Um, I do love concussive shell Marauder openers. They're so
Oh,
strong.
yeah, they
Their
are.
follow-up is terrible because you can't really transition off of concussive Marauders.
Well, you just go and do a 3-rack bio push and
Yeah, something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, in the very early game, they're nice, and it's actually it looks like it's just going to be containment. So
That's a little bit of a twist on what we usually see out of BenBot. I don't know if this is a TVP specific thing the bot has or something new the bot author added, because usually it is just Marines when we see BenBot go for a proxy like this. So the Marauders are cool.
yeah, this isn't bad though. It looks like BenBot's like trying to secure a natural at some point. I can see him building a bunker at his nat. If he just contains for a long time, this could work out well because SharpenedEdge saw the cheese and he's like, okay, I just need to defend to survive. And it's like, actually,
Yeah,
no, you need to break out and expand yourself, otherwise you're going to end up far behind if
I
this
don't
lasts for a
think
few minutes.
I don't think SharpenedEdge is planning that though, is it? Says, well, it realizes it's up against a Marauder rush, but it also had a chat tag, one base robo all in. So it may just be going for a full-blown attack and trying to crash the gates of BenBot. We'll see, as it does have a second Immortal on the way. It's building up Stalkers as well.
And that is a good reaction. If you think you need to survive on one base and you realize your opponent expanded, that's the time you got to attack. But like, there's
Yeah.
investment into shield batteries right now. That's not going to help them at all.
No,
We'll have to see
definitely
how
not.
this goes. The Immortals are definitely strong, though. They're going to do a lot of damage to both the bunker and the Marauders.
Yeah,
And we got
I'm
one SCV to repair, one bunker.
yeah, so far I'm quite happy with the way SharpenedEdge is treating this. The Prism on the way and Warp Gate about to finish up will allow it to execute that push. The batteries are not good, but BenBot could have easily actually been trying to push up the ramp with the Marauders, so I'm okay with the bot author having that as a decision. SharpenedEdge is going to try and move down. There's only one SCV to repair the bunker. 2 Stalkers start getting shot, but there's the Immortals stepping forward, and they just put out so much damage. That bunker already goes down, and BenBot has been broken.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping he might take out a few more Stalkers, but BenBot did not get a lot of damage done there. Marauders are actually tanking for the bunker, which wasn't great.
No.
That means there's a lot of Stalkers, and of course both Immortals and Prisms still available. Let's see how this push goes, as this is going to be very difficult for BenBot to stop. He does seem to have a wall off of some sorts, and we know BenBot loves his turtley position, so maybe there'll be a tank waiting there.
It is
waiting. Okay, 2 bunkers, there's some Marauders, okay.
Yeah, this is quite concerning for BenBot, though, as it's on very low army supply compared to SharpenedEdge. The 2 Immortals are just going to put out so much damage. SCVs being pulled to repair is important. SharpenedEdge is able to kill one of those bunkers. The bio stims, but that's maybe not the best, as it does go too far forward. And BenBot is in quite a bit of trouble as SharpenedEdge pushes across and is looking to kill that second bunker, targeting some of the SCVs, but then just putting out lots of damage on it. And the bunker does fall, so that is really bad for BenBot. It may just be about to die here.
Yeah. Terrific micro out of SharpenedEdge too, as he was shuffling the weak Stalkers through his Warp Prism. He ended up not losing any of them until the very end of the fight. So.
Yeah, high ground tank is getting great shots off for BenBot, though, as SharpenedEdge prioritizes the natural base. And yeah, this is just getting so many unit kills here. It's already killed 1 Immortal, killing some Stalkers. The CC does get lifted. This may be unfortunate for BenBot, as the CC was preventing SharpenedEdge moving up that ramp. So we'll see if it actually does go up that ramp to potentially kill the tank. The Prism will give the high ground vision to reveal the tank. And still, though, SharpenedEdge is having a hard time with the pathing, lifts up 2 Immortals, but hasn't done anything with them. The Stalkers realize they can shoot the tank from the low ground, and they are able to get it.
Yeah, just picking it off. A lot of those shots are actually going into like the tech lab of the factory, so I think only 1 or 2 units had range on the siege tank, but it's just enough to beat the repair of the SCV. Almost had the single tank defense, which would have been hilarious.
It was quite a great position for that tank, but still not enough to overcome just the amount of units SharpenedEdge has. BenBot doesn't have another tank building, it's just putting out 1 Marauder at a time. SharpenedEdge does go for Warpins. It is just keeping the 2 Immortals in the Prism, which seems like it may be a bit of a bug, as they're just not doing anything and are kind of useless in that Prism. But BenBot is still in a lot of trouble.
A lot of SCVs kind of like roaming to the front line as well, so I'm not even sure if he's on... Well, he's still got a fully saturated main base, okay. These Marauders do come out in stim, so they do pick off one stalker at a time. Those Immortals have been dropped out now, so now it's back to the Immortals again. I think this is all she said.
Yeah, it does seem like that. BenBot did get an expansion towards the left, but SharpenedEdge is going to clean out the main. All the production is gone, and BenBot is pretty much dead. How long
Can he
will it
find
take
the hidden base, though?
Yeah, how
It's
long
not
will
revealed.
it take?
That is a command center.
SharpenedEdge does have expansions and great macro going up behind this, though. And, oh, there goes the CC.
Yeah, poor
GG.
BenBot.
Well done, SharpenedEdge.
Yeah, brilliant tactics there from SharpenedEdge, and wow, it's crazy. BenBotBC on 0-2, a former champion, I think, of Probots, at least not of our tournament, but the Probots, and on 0-2, in real trouble now in this tournament. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked how poorly that containment went. I thought like having to like funnel down a ramp and you're mostly stalkers against marauders, like you at least lose some of your units, but man, he lost almost nothing breaking out and then immediately pushing across for the kill was a really good decision of SharpenedEdge.
Yeah, the breakout was really well done for SharpenedEdge, as it's just like chose the perfect build to deal with that kind of contain.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And he had a single zealot, I noticed, and the single zealot just soaked up so many marauder shots. Like, could have been, because if he loses like 4 stalkers, for instance, and then breaks out, then maybe he doesn't have that firepower to go across the map and win the game anymore. And then the siege tanks get out, and there's an expansion base. You know, could have completely changed the dynamic of the game. But yeah, it was just an overwhelming success out in both those battles for SharpenedEdge.
Yeah, definitely. No, well done, SharpenedEdge. Goes into the 1-on-1 bracket with a good chance of making it through now. And next up, we will have, hold on, it is ThomTest. And ThomTest came in seeded 15th. The 15th seeding meant it get paired against NegativeZero, which was always going to be a tough match for it. So
Yeah.
no shame in losing that one, but I'd say its tournament starts now, and now it is up against Thheo, another new bot, seeded 13th, lost 0-1 to Micro Machine in the first round.
That much. I remember that game. That was a close one.
Oh,
yeah,
that
was brutal.
Was a close one. And as we were saying, like, even though this is seeded 13th out of 16, it doesn't mean to say it's a bad bot. It's done really well and gave Micro Machine a real run for its money.
Yeah. Micro Machine was dead, like completely dead in the water. He had no SCVs, he had an orbital command, and he had a proxy factory, and he somehow like scooped a victory out of that because Thheo kind of went into cleanup mode and didn't take the game as seriously anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really close one. Really nice bailing bust out of Thheo. As it's a strategy I don't see much out of bots, or maybe ever out of bots. So that might be the first bailing bust I've seen.
Yeah, it's really interesting because splash damage against bots is generally not a good tactic because bots are so good at dodging them, but buildings can't dodge splash damage.
No, they can't. Yeah, it was a really cool build that Thheo went for in that match, and maybe it'll do something similar here. So I'm ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, I will share my screen. Right, and turn on that. Right, let's go.
Okay, so spawning up in the top left in his first tournament, it is the red Protoss ThomTest. And also in his first tournament, down in the bottom right, we have the blue Zerg Thheo, the double H. The second H is definitely not for honor, though, as I think we're going to be seeing another one base cheese out of this guy. We'll find out, though.
Yeah, I mean, Masslings can definitely be very good against Protoss. as it's
Yeah.
quite tricky to muster a defense against something like that. Although Thheo does already have a low ground wall off, or pardon me, one test already has that low ground wall off started, which is what Protoss needs to defend against masslings. It's also sending out a scouting probe, so it will have a heads up that this is coming. Whether it's got any particular reactions programmed or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. A little harder to survive with the low ground wall than the high ground one.
Definitely.
He doesn't know he's against the one base all in, so obviously the low ground wall makes better sense in general. But I'd love to see. Hatchery does go down, but it did go gas pool hatchery, so that second hatchery is probably mostly just for larva.
Yep. Thheo has seen one test has seen the spawning pool timing, so it knows what it's up against, but it decides to build a Nexus anyway, which isn't great. There's the Cybercore on the way behind this.
Yeah, I mean, it's all defensive if you can get that wall up in time. And looking at the position of that first pylon, and it's like there's a one gap between that and the gateway, so there's no instant wall off you can really do.
No.
I guess.
It could put a zealot
Okay,
in
no,
the
he's
wall.
not going to use that as part of the wall. Okay, so that's better. Okay, I saw the wall wrong. So this is perfect. You can fit one
standard
unit in there. You can build
wall.
a backup pylon if it's coded to do so.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it'll build a battery as well, but Thheo doesn't care how much of a wall one test builds, as it looks like it's going to be planning to crash the gates again, as we do have that Baneling nest on the way. Probe does come in, sees the Baneling nest. So Thheo just sees the Ling count. Maybe there's some reactions programmed to that, as it has a Stalker on the way behind this Warp Gate building. Still no tech or battery for Thheo. It is chrono boosting out a second Stalker, which, I mean, the chrono boost is good. The fact that it's a Stalker against mass lings maybe isn't.
Yeah, obviously Adepts or Zealots are stronger in this position, but it's mostly going to come down to the wall, I would suspect. You know, if Balins go rolling through that Zealot, this is going to be a really tough game for one test. But if that Zealot holds the position while the Stalkers are wailing from behind, that's going to make for a different outcome.
Yeah, the Protoss
here comes the attack now, though.
Doesn't seem to be reacting super strongly to this, and that is putting it in trouble. We do have Chrono Boost on another one of the Stalkers, but they are going to be in trouble. We're going to have to see a probe pull. There is a probe behind this Zealot. Is it going to build a pylon or something? That would be huge if it does. One test does have the money, but no pylon gets built. Just the probe in the door a little bit. Tries to build a battery now. It's quite late. However, probes being pulled can soak for the Stalkers. Baneling connects with a few of them. The one test can afford to take some damage in this situation. In fact, it can afford to lose at least another 15 workers before it'll be matched with its opponent. Stalkers are doing a good job kiting against these lings, and there's just not that many lings for Thheo, so far this isn't really snowballing against the Protoss. The Cybercore soaked a lot of damage as lings kept attacking that. The Stalkers, though, they're moving forward to engage those lings. The battery is done. This is looking pretty good for one test.
Yeah, this is looking terrific. He was able to kill off so many Zerglings before they finally busted in. And the Zerglings are even focusing mostly the Cybercore. And if that goes down, that's not the end of the world. Because that means that one test will be building Zealots instead of Stalkers, which is, you know, probably the better unit anyways in this position. Yeah, now with this many Stalkers, a shield battery, the Lings flooding in one at a time, this is a really good hold. Look at that, even a force field.
Mm-hmm. I was definitely a little worried for one test, but seems like it's got the chops to defend against a one base ling all in. And yeah, just Thheo maybe needs to change the targeting a little bit to avoid targeting that Cybercore. It's not an easy thing to program your targeting to be perfect, though. So
I think the biggest thing with the Baling bus is you got to build the Balings first, right? You don't lose half your Zerglings to then build the Balings.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean,
if they came rolling through the Zealot at the start of the fight, and then the 40 Lings flooded in behind, oh, that would have been a whole different game.
Yeah, really good hold.
Yeah, really impressive out of one test. I love the wall off. I love the Zealot in the wall. The shield battery was a really good choice, and even has the ability to force field. That's a lot of defensive options for a fairly new bot.
Yeah, the battery was a little bit later than I'd have liked, and maybe even a little further back, but still, really great to see. The Protoss bot isn't also just sitting back. It seems to think it can take a fight, and it's definitely going to be going to, as Thheo has just seemingly crashed out and has stopped building anything, as the plan has failed, and looks like ThomTest will take this game.
Yeah, he reached the killbot kill limit.
Yes, how many lings died, just out of curiosity? 79 and 1 baneling, so 80 lings. Okay. GG, well done ThomTest.
Yeah, I think it was definitely the Zap Brannigan tactic there, and Thheo didn't quite manage to get past it. But still well done. Like, I think that could have worked. Like you said, he just needed to build the banelings. I'm not sure why he didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that was a low ground wall off with Nexus before Cybercore, and he held a bailing bust. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, he did get a couple of banelings in. I'm not sure it really helped him, though. I think it only took out a couple of
Yeah, I
workers.
mean, killing workers is not what you want to be doing at that point. You're trying to win the game there, so hurting the economy is not a big deal. As Laughing Game said, he could lose 15 probes and it'd be fine. What you really want to do is overwhelm the army, kill off all those stalkers with your zerglings, and then then the probes don't have a chance anyways.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So well done to ThomTest, or Tom, as he's known. I'm sure. I'm sure real name author doesn't have like test at the end of his name. So next up, I think we also have a bot called Test. First up, no, oh no, we have Caninana is going to be our next bot. Seeded 5, so bit of a shock to see him in the lower bracket, and always shows up well for
Definitely.
tournaments. So yeah,
Yeah, the most recent Probots champion loses game 1. And that was a really good game as well, because Caninana did not really make many mistakes in that defense. And yeah, the follow up big bio attack just was too much for him.
yeah.
And it looks like he's probably going to get some more aggression as he's facing a bot named 12 Pool Bot. So
I wonder what it's gonna do.
Sorry, I've
it's
just
going to
made
build 12 spawning pools at the start of the game.
Yes, sorry. I just called our last bot ThomTest, and that was ThomTest, not ThomTest. So yeah.
You combined Thheo and ThomTest into one
Yes.
name.
Yeah. Sorry. It's Tom. I'm
Maybe
very
they
sorry
should,
there.
Maybe they should team up and make a bot together.
It would be test one. Test one Tom. Anyway, so Caninana is going to face is up against the Zerg brothers 12 pool bots, which has a very surprising strategy for a lot of people. Seeded 14th. It's always a fun bot to have in the tournament.
Yeah, I like 12 pool bot. It's sort of like, it's like, what is one of the first things you do if you're a bot author and you want to create a bot? 12 pool bot, and then it's a great example of what can be done with these bots.
Absolutely, and but like the reason 12 pool bot always qualifies for the tournament is because it does a 12 pool so well. It beats out lots of other bots that are just cheesing and doing random stuff. I mean, the micro is actually like quite okay for a standard 12 pool bot. So it's always there or thereabouts. All right, I am ready to go. I will share my screen.
All right.
Okay, so we got a ZVZ here on Ephemeron. So spawning in the top left, we have the returning Probots champion. It is Caninana. And in the bottom right, with the shocking playstyle, it is 12 Poolbot. Which honestly, I don't mind versus Caninana. You're probably going to be a heavy underdog versus him in the long game. So
Yeah,
see if you can
and
cheese him out.
as we saw in the previous series, Caninana can be brought down by cheese, seemingly
Yeah.
even cheese that it's prepared for. There's a lot of factors that go on in these bot matches. Pathing, maps is a big one. But 12 Pool Bot is always so fun to watch. You know exactly what it's gonna do, and you're just here for the ride. So
I will say though, the Caninana's cheese defense is like night and day different than what it once was in the past. Unlike other bots, they kind of start off with a cheese and then slowly grow their repertoire of strategies from there. Caninana went
Yeah.
the other routes. He went for like just heavy macro play, and he would die to every cheese. And then he's
Mhm.
been slowly filling those holes, and now he's actually at the point where he's scouting it, reacting to it, and reacting kind of smart to it. Even in the loss last week, like he made some really good decisions on how to defend.
Yeah,
That just
definitely.
didn't turn out well. Yeah.
There has been a lot of work put into the defense. Like, I've literally, calling back to the game from last week, like, I literally cast a match in which Caninana successfully defended against ThomTest on a different map. So,
Mm.
like, the work has been done. The bot author's definitely looking at these cheesy games that they lose. So,
Just want to put out there, we are not seeing a 12 pool, by the way.
no, 12 full
We-
bot is a liar.
Maybe he put the pool down on 12, I'm not sure. But this is going to be a Roach Rush or a Ravager Rush or something along those lines as he's still mining the gas and going for that late expansion, which is probably just for Larva, and the early Roach Warren, which is probably to kill someone.
Yeah, we'll see. Is there going to be Burrow fired up with this maybe? For now, just 3 roaches on the way. Caninana even scouts the expansion, so maybe it is going to be letting its guard down, as this 12 pool could be a bit of a fake out. 6 roaches on the way. Queen for 12 pool bot could potentially shoot down this Overlord. We'll see if it is able to do that.
Oh, this is going to be a
Canina-
perfect scout timing out of Caninana, though. Catching the roaches right as they pop.
Yep, it
And there
knows
comes
what
the
it's
spine,
up
and there
against.
comes its own Roach Warren in response. But that's a late Roach Warren in
Yeah.
response.
And that spine, like, spines build incredibly slowly, and 1 spine alone is not enough to defend. So we have 3 on the way, 4 on the way now, but like, you generally need lings or your queens on the front to help buffer against this. 12 pool bot is going for mass lings behind this. The typical Zerg follow up to a Roach Rush. Lings get across the map quicker, so they can reinforce faster. And here goes 12 pool bot, but then it actually turns around, trying to
Oh, he's
chase
chasing a
one ling.
Zergling.
Oh, okay, it does not chase that till the end of the earth,
Yeah.
which is good.
He loses vision of it thanks to the sight blocker, and now he may have a chance to break through. But now we do have 3 spines complete in time for this attack. The queen has taken a little trip, but oh no,
Oh, the
another
ling
distraction
again.
ling. Okay,
Okay.
does lose vision of it around the corner. This attack needs to go in now. Another roach joins the fight. There's 4 spines now.
Okay, let's do it. 12 pool bot. Time to man up, and it wants to go in. There's the rest of the lings joining, so it does move in, eating more spine shots and not really attacking efficiently though. So this is not great for 12 pool bot, as it tries to get one of these spines doing this weird walk, but making some micro mistakes as it eats shots without getting any damage done. Seemingly controlling the lings and roaches together is not great. Caninana does have roaches done, and notably has burrow done, so it's not going to lose a single roach, I don't think.
So we've seen this mistake in 12 pool bot in the past. When he's hesitant to attack, he decides he doesn't have enough units, which is fine. I mean, whether that calculation's correct or not. But when he's hesitant, he hangs out in range of the enemy units. So he's like wiggles back and forth and just loses his whole army. Like if he stayed well back and waited for more roaches, that's one thing. But he just kind of stayed in spine crawler range.
It's a pretty common mistake that happens in bot games. It's not easy to program that logic. When to retreat, when to attack, particularly as the math changes and the units go in and then they see more units. Definitely could be some improvements for 12 pool bot. Like, I did not mind this build choice. It's now got speed to go with its lings. Unfortunately, it's just not going to kill the roaches of Caninana. It doesn't have detection.
Yeah, but if you can overwhelm, but he's not overwhelming. If you can overwhelm, it doesn't matter if the roaches are burrowed because you just get to run in and kill everything else. Yeah, that fight was more or less even, but that's even against the bot that has a 2-base economy going on here. Although, as I say that, there's not a lot of drones in the way of Caninana.
No, Caninana is a bot that goes incredibly hard on the defense and just is incredibly slow to macro in general, even in games that it's not harassed. Like, it takes a long time to get up that worker count, but it's the slow and steady approach. It will eventually get up that high drone count, build up that killer army composition. And 12 pool bot, I don't think is going to change up its strategy here.
No, He does have 2 strategies, which is nice. Both the Ling Rush and the Roach Rush. But I think the claim to fame of this bot is that it's only 300 lines of code. So
Oh, okay.
to show you can, you can qualify for a tournament if you just do like a really good executed cheese.
It's a very efficient 300 lines of code.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's a great bot, but Caninana definitely does have that depth to defend the cheese. The response for spine crawlers, something the bot authors clearly thought through, and it seems to work quite well.
And for all we know, it was just those distraction lings that won the game for Caninana.
It
Those
very
lings
well
that
could have
arrived and killed all the spines while they're in production,
Yeah, and that is why I was a little worried about the spines, but distraction lings for the win.
And that is something annoying to code against too. Bots like Caninana and Eris, there's always like lings and overseers on your side of the map, and it's so easy to have your army just end up chasing these units to the end of time when they're trying to attack instead.
Yeah, I guess you could maybe have like a rule in your bot not to chase something like under like 5 supply or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
As a close approach, or as
but then you could like lose a mineral line to 1 Zergling.
It's
There's so many
true.
like edge cases of that.
Yeah, there really is. 12 pool bot is squeezing out a few more drones, making more lings, but I don't think in one of those 300 lines of code there's a plan to build a lair or an overseer to take down the roaches of Caninana. It is just doing that thing where it's sitting there eating shots.
Yeah, I mean, Caninana is losing a lot of Zerglings. He's not building drones, really. So, yeah, I don't think there's a world where 12 football can come back. I was just thinking, like, eventually he's going to mine out these 2 bases, so he needs to push out at some point, and it looks like he finally has the army count high enough.
Yeah, and 12 pool bot just retreating against what Caninana has, adding in more lings. Yeah, this is how it goes when one bot is planned with the late game in mind and the other isn't. Caninana, like, it does really take the slow approach, but slow and steady is what applies here. As it, slowly getting up that worker count, getting the odd upgrade here and there, and I mean, it is actually getting pushed back by 12 pool bot as it's built up a massive quantity of lings.
Yeah, and he did have speed on his lings where Caninana does not, so...
Yeah. Here's the roaches, though, getting attacked, but they'll just burrow, and they've actually got tunneling claws, so they can keep attacking or head on home. 12 pool bot does seem like it's trying to path under. Is there a bird roach in there or something? Or yeah. Lings are just sort of grouping around. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. Like, it does see the burrowed roach, but it's not...
Yeah, so there's no visual cue when Zerg units are burrowed, but when they're moving burrowed, you can always see the shadow. So that's what's happening here. Trying to kill that unit it has no detection of.
So is that so like when you say this is something that I'm wondering, when you say there's a shadow, like, is that something you as a programmer have to program specifically to like chase the shadows, or is that something a bot with just general pathing abilities will do by itself without any extra programming?
I'm guessing he's trying to attack it, right? So if you try to attack a unit that you don't have detection of, it's just going to end up looking like that. So,
right.
Yeah. There's
119 lings for 12 pool bot.
It's a lot of lings. We do see that Caninana is starting to drone up now. He's feeling pretty confident, taking his 3rd and 4th base. Although he's caught out of position here if the lings decide to attack. They're thinking about it. Nope, they're retreating again. Going after the burrowed roach is the issue.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like 12 pool bot it's a really great bot, but imagine if it did have behavior to build an overseer or a lair or a transition in it. Like, it's a really strong opening that could have a potential for a really strong follow-up to it. But the bot author might not want to do that, and it does pretty well for what it is. So
yeah, I mean, he's got like a little bit, like he spends his extra minerals on more hatcheries, I guess, but he doesn't build more drones. So is there somewhere to put his drones, I guess, when he mines out his main base?
Yeah, it squeezes out like the odd drone here and there, like it's up to 32, but Like, I'm not actually sure. That's actually something I was wondering what the case is for it to build more drones, because it definitely does add on, like, the odd drone here and there. Attack for the Lings of 12 Quillbot, but they are just going to get massacred by all the roaches that have upgrades for Caninana. And, yeah, Caninana is in no rush here. It's just responding to the threat of a rather large Ling army and doing a good job at it. Funnily enough, no speed for Caninana, but...
Funny, I was just watching, like, that was like 140 Lings being micro, and I looked down and I see like 120,000 APM. Didn't even know it was possible to get APM that high from a bot that does a one-base cheese.
Yeah, look, see, 12 Cool Bot builds like a couple of drones here. The drone behavior is interesting. Caninana corners most of these Lings and will be killing them off. 12 Cool Bot, of course, is spamming more of them, though. Chasing units all over the map still, it seems.
Interesting that he saw him like put a tag out for infestors. So I guess when he faces a lot of Lings, he figures like infestors are a good counter to that.
Yeah.
I don't see that too often in ZVZ, infestors versus Lings, but technically if it ever got to that point in the game in a human match, it probably would be a good answer.
Caninana just really does like infestors in general, too.
Oh, yeah.
It is the bot with, I'd say, the best infestor control and usage, perhaps.
Yeah. I always say, like, I think of all the Terran bots on the ladder, the ones that has the most coding for battle cruisers is actually Caninana. He takes them over and does so much work. He uses the Yamato, he jumps them, like he focus fires with them. It's hilarious.
It works so darn well. Like, building battle cruisers is, like, terrible against Caninana for that reason, almost. I'm surprised none of the Terran bot authors have started, like, preemptively teleporting their battle cruisers against Caninana, so then they can't be teleported onto a field of spore crawlers.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where Caninana and Eris are both so good with infestors, or with neural parasite versus BCs, that my bot now considers infestors the greater threat than corruptors. Like, if I see both those units, I'm Yamatoing the infestor now.
Oh, I think that's absolutely the right decision.
Which I think
this
works.
is a very long game.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that when you click on a bot replay, if you judge it by the size, you never know how it's gonna go. Yeah, 12 Cool Bot is still fighting the good fight. Caninana just about maxed out. 66 drones, cleaning house.
I
will
think that's
take the
it
game.
for the army. Yeah, we're finally there. Well done, Caninana. He looked like he was in a tough spot when he had no units, no Roach Warren as the attack was crossing the map. Luckily, his Overlord spotted it immediately, and his Lings distracted just long enough.
That was a very, very good distraction there. Like, I'm not sure if that was pre-planned, but definitely a good distraction to have it running around the map like that. And yeah, I think if the Roaches had got there and just barreled straight for those spore crawlers, they would have died. Or spine crawlers, sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, well done.
Yeah, Caninana in the past, I think he's always been a fan of knowing what his opponent's army is. Like, I think in early iterations of his bot, just every 30 seconds, he would send one Ling on a suicide run into the enemy base. And he just, every 30 seconds, like, I want to know what my opponent has, so I know what to build at home. So he's always been a fan of sending out those Lings. Now those Lings are a lot more clever, we'll say, as they scout around the map and keep themselves alive.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely.
Yeah, so is that it for our lower bracket, I believe?
That is the lower bracket done. So we now have moving to the upper brackets, and our first game will feature Zozo by Sam Morgan. Seeded 6th. Always a really strong bot though. Comes Protoss and comes with some very, very strong fun tactics, shall we say.
Yeah, Zozo is a bot that has had a lot of development in it as well. Like, when it first sort of appeared, or even over the past year or two, like, it was fairly simple, but it has had some more work put into it, and it's just gotten better and better at what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. He is dedicated to the cheese for sure. But like, yeah, he started as a pro brush bot, and then he became the best probe rush bot. And then he started like faking a probe rush while doing another different cheese, and now he like does all sorts of cheese. He's got like the zealot flower. He does like an immortal all in. So like yeah, he's got
yeah.
he's definitely the one base god, but he's always developing on it. A lot of times when you get a cheesy bot, they do their cheese and then they're done making their bot and that's it. But Zozo's constantly working on his bots, but staying in the cheese theme.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Like I do really enjoy watching Zozo. But up against him is DominionDog, one of our definitely a veteran bot, but not the Terran bot. But yeah, so something that's been there along, seated 8th, won its first game against SharpenedEdge. But yeah, no, always a strong bot, and another one of your Java brethren.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all the Java bots, so I'll be cheering for DominionDog. Although I think I just voted for Zozo on Laughing Games stream chat there because Zozo is he's too annoying.
Betrayal!
He beats me. He's probably gonna beat DominionDog. We'll see what DominionDog's up to. DominionDog's probably more active at coding his bot recently than I was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure in most recent months, but I think at least 3 or 4 months ago he was working on his bot pretty regularly.
Yeah, there was a lot of work put into DominionDog around Christmas or just before it. Yeah, whereas Zozo though has been very recently updated, February 22nd, and yeah, so it might have something that just sort of snipes DominionDog. We'll see.
Yeah,
entirely possible. All right, let's get into it.
All right.
All right, we are going.
Okay, so spawning up in the top left and already sending out a probe as expected. It is the red Protoss Zozo. And spawning in the bottom right, we have the blue Terran. It is DominionDog. Actually built by a husband and wife team.
Yeah, it's real cool that they've taken on this project together and done incredibly well with it. Imagine talking about bots over the dinner table or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see that. Like, my girlfriend's a coder too, but, you know, if I ever see us coding in your free time, she's like, what? Like, this is a job. I don't do this in my free time. Yeah, so placing a pylon right outside the natural. That won't be scouted unless he goes across the map. And it looks like it's going to be... Oh, yeah, it's going to be the gateway flower.
Now, DominionDog does have some good cheese responses. And, okay, Protoss begins scout. So DominionDog, is it going to be scouting out? Yes, it is. And it is going to realize it is up against a very dirty cheese. Protoss early defend proxy gateway tag being posted for DominionDog. It has Iraq's building at the back of its base. SCVs being pulled to try and take care of this pylon that is trying to block the Terran's wall. And so far is successfully doing that. One Marine is on the way for DominionDog, but it is going to be up against many Zealots. Looks like Zozo may have accidentally blocked its 4th gateway with a pylon. I'm not sure if that's something that took place, but there's usually a 4th gateway, I feel.
That is true.
So might not be significant anyway.
I think we've seen this in the past too. If he doesn't get his 4 gateways up, there's just never a 4th gateway, so he'll just end up floating minerals and have a weaker push. But talking about mineral problems, these pylons have well paid for themselves, as like so many SCVs have been off the line. No chance of a wall getting up, and now it's 2 Zealots against 1 Marine. SCV's coming in to fight the pylon, but that is distracting. A lot of these Marines getting a lot of shots.
We'll see whether DominionDog can pool up, like, say, 3-4 Marines, because the SCVs right now, they're just soaking so much damage and distracting the Zealots. That means 3 Marines are now out, and that is quite a bit of firepower for the Terran. The Marines, they can also now fan out against the Zealots and get lots of firepower off. One does eat a swipe, so we'll have to watch and see if any of those go down. A lot of the SCVs have now taken their maximum damage. They're not also really being repaired either. Still, though, DominionDog is up to 4 Marines and doing all right as it gobbles up these Zealots. The fanning of the Marines, the micro, is just really beautiful.
Okay, 2 Zealots came in at the same time there, so it does take down 1 Marine.
Yeah, that could be the start of a
there's actually no more
snowball.
Marines on the way, so...
Zozo has another single Zealot coming on in. The Marines are microing against it. An SCV soaking shots, though. This is really important. The Zealot is leashed on the SCV as well, so
Yeah.
that is great for DominionDog. Who'd have thought that 3 Marines could kill like 10 Zealots, but now they could be in trouble. 2 more Marines are being built for DominionDog, though, and it does have a siege tank on the way. As this one Marine runs for his life, SCVs are going to have to soak some shots. And they are, unfortunately, going to be getting 1 shot for DominionDog. So now it's really taken some economic damage. More SCVs are being produced, but so many are dying now.
And that's a big deal, because, like, DominionDog has spent all this time building production, not units. And now with all this production, he just lost his entire economy. That siege tank did siege up, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of against Zealots.
Yeah.
I would like to see them just fanning back like the Marines do, but...
We do have 4 Marines out, 5 Marines out for DominionDog, backed up by the siege tank. That could be really big. The Marines are kiting away. Not really much friendly fire just yet. 1 Marine does go down. DominionDog seems to have just enough money to keep a little bit of production going. However, it loses another 2 SCVs. That's painful. 2 tanks are out now. DominionDog wants to push out against this gateway rush, and we'll see if it's correct in doing so. As it's going down the ramp, that could mess with padding a little bit, but now tanks on the front lines are actually doing quite well. DominionDog may have held this.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking great for DominionDog, but let's not forget that it is 1 worker against 16. So this has to win, basically, right now.
Yeah,
It is SCV building, it was the production, so...
It is Terran, so it can drop mules to help itself out, and, like, yeah, Zozo is going to have no production in a second. We'll see if it's got a bit of redundancy and maybe a follow-up, but that's not really Zozo's style for the most part. It commits to things pretty hard. Nothing going on back at home.
I think I've seen this before.
Oh,
I
there
think
we
there is
go.
redundancy, but it's only when he loses basically everything on the front line that he'll start building up at home again.
Yeah, still, that's great to see that Zozo is at least doing that. Now the question will be whether DominionDog does go for a counterattack, as Zozo throws up a Nexus back at home, building a pylon, gonna have to start from scratch, build a new gateway, then Cybercore. 1 gate on the way. Yeah, does DominionDog just sit back at home, or will it go for a counterattack?
So it looks like the answer is sit at home. So this is... I mean, there's a nice army lead for DominionDog, probably units lost lead, but the worker count, I mean, 20 to 6. If you're going to sit back at home, this could definitely go Zozo's way, especially if he gets that 2-base economy really pumping.
Yeah, it definitely could. We could see Zozo able to build up a bunch of production and go for like one of its stalker pushes that it does, stalker immortal pushes that it does so well. At the same time, DominionDog is still slowly coming back to life, and it is quite an incredible bot in the late game as well. So time might not be terrible for DominionDog. However, there may be a window in which it's vulnerable if Zozo just powers up here. And it is, as we see more gateways going up, Cybercore on the way.
And like 8 workers isn't like horrifically bad. Like it sounds terrible, but that still means he can build SCVs and he can still, add in some Marines and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is potential that he could push out at some point. He's building basically 1 Marine and 2 SCVs at a time, or 2 Marines and 1 SCV. So maybe he ends up with like a 20 Marine, 2 tank push.
Yeah, Zozo has had a lot of money floating basically since it lost the first gateway, or maybe not building the 4th gateway. That's probably why it was floating so much money. It does invest in a 3rd Nexus, though, which is good to see. It's really going to be powering up here, as it's got that 2nd base done, 3rd base on the way, and DominionDog is still just sitting on 1 base, building those 2 Marines at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a window for DominionDog to go. I think the late game is definitely going to favor Zozo, even though DominionDog's a much better late game bot. It's just the economy. It's just so much difference. And then Zozo is kind of getting to the point where he can start spending his money. He's finally got some production up. He's got 2 gateways. He's got a robo just about to complete.
Yeah, we're now 3 stalkers at a time against 2 Marines at a time. That definitely doesn't favor DominionDog. The Terran bot is up to about 15 workers now, so it's getting to the point that it might have enough money to throw down an expansion sometime soon. It actually fires up a tank, so it's just continuing hard on this 1 base plan, as it does add in more and more SCVs.
Yeah, I do like the tank. If there is a unit that can kind of help overwhelmingly win a fight, which is, it looks like is what DominionDog's going to need at some point, tank is one of those units. Not just because it has like great splash damage for range, but it's also difficult for you to code your bot against. A lot of times you are afraid to go into the tanks, or you suicide your whole army into the tanks, and
Okay, Protoss early clean tank push for DominionDog. Protoss late infantry, as the Terran bot does have a supply lead still, 35 army supply against 22. DominionDog is sort of coalescing inside its main base, getting a Raven now, which is interesting. But it seems to be coming to life as it's hanging out. What's it waiting for here? Or is it
I think I was
waiting for
afraid
the
of the
Raven,
probe or
maybe?
something. But I do like how the Marines and tanks have joined up again. I was worried about those Marines all being as mineral lines and 2 tanks way off on their own in the natural. It's like that's a good way to lose 2 tanks.
It definitely is. That
Tanks
tank
being
gets
repaired up,
repaired.
and now with the Raven here comes the push. Yeah, so using it for detection.
DominionDog might be having some big pathing issues here.
Sometimes you
not...
want to keep your Marines like close to your tanks because their job is to protect the tanks. So the tank's trying to go down the ramp, and the Marines at the bottom of the ramp are trying to get on the tank, and they're blocking each other. So
Yeah, when the bot authors program their bot, they probably didn't have this sort of situation in mind, and the forces will meet in the middle. We'll see how well Zozo kites, but it does have bad pathing on a few of those stalkers, so some of them just get destroyed by the mass firepower of the Marines. So here goes DominionDog crossing the middle of the map. Stalkers are shooting at some of these Marines, going to pick some of them off as Zozo shuffles its units away with the Prism, but that was a great trade for DominionDog. It's maintaining its army supply lead, and it is already rolling up on the natural of Zozo.
Yeah, I love how he didn't siege his tanks there. So that allows him to like stay on the move and really get in for the kill, and that's what he needs to do. Battery overcharge on the way. Probes coming in to help fight. It's a really good defense here by Zozo, but will it be enough? All the probes are down, and there go the stalkers and the battery. Die.
Zozo does have a great economy behind this still. It's even up on 4 Nexus, still 36 probes working away. And so if this drags on for a long time, there is a world in which Zozo can clean this up. DominionDog is 1 basing behind this. It's not got some big macro follow-up or anything. It basically needs to win the game here.
And here we go with the Immortal stepping into the siege tank fire.
Yeah.
So loving that the siege tanks are giving him that overwhelming victory that he needed. There's actually something going on the other side of the map with the reinforcements. It looks like they're being picked off by a handful of stalkers.
Wow, Zozo's Prism gets aggressive. Okay. Auto turret gets thrown down to try and help out against this. It almost gets a stalker, but great Prism micro by Zozo. What a crazy counterattack by the Protoss bot, and DominionDog is wholly unprepared to defend this.
Yeah, I mean, you really needed to like that siege line to be like where the fight always takes place, because that's where you could win the fights being outnumbered. This counterattack is great. It takes the siege tanks completely out of the equation. Still getting really good damage done here with the Cyclone and the auto turret, and the Cyclone's going to get repaired back to full. So that's something.
Zozo does seem to be going home now, maybe chasing that medevac across the map. There's also a Raven heading home for DominionDog, interestingly enough.
Yeah, those tanks are not siege up in range of the Nexus. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, because it allows them to kill drones that are trying to set up batteries and stuff.
This is a bad loop for Zozo. The Protoss bot is still pumping out probes while this is going on. DominionDog tries to send a few of its units across the map. They just get absolutely crushed. DominionDog has 1-1 on the way for its bio, so its Marines will get slightly better, the few that still exist. The Terrans also got to be mining out at this point. Like, it's 12 minutes into the game.
Remember, he had no workers, though. So
That's true, but it's still got to be getting close to mining out, I think.
Oh, you're right. It looks like there's down to 4 mineral patches, yeah.
Yeah, so the production will slow for DominionDog, and Zozo is gradually building up, even trying to kill off some of these tanks. Doesn't kill any, but it softens them up, and they're not really going to be replaced by DominionDog anytime soon. The Nexus did die. Zozo replanted it. It's still on 3 bases, though, but it is losing a lot of units that are pathing into the range of these tanks. What a wacky bot game.
Yeah. I've seen this issue, though, with DominionDog before, where it kind of just builds whatever unit it can afford first. So since the cheapest mineral cost unit is Marine, he's going to be blowing all of his money on Marines, even though he's really You know, he's got tons of gas income. I would love to see him just building more tanks and maybe even ravens, because those auto turrets have been doing well for him. And that won't, because his mineral income is just going to be so low from this point forward. More Marines dying in the center of the map. Siege tanks still doing their job, getting so much value, keeping DominionDog in this game. But there's still 3 bases mining for Zozo, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, DominionDog will eventually run completely out of money as well. I'm curious if it will ever lift off the expansion. I get the feeling it won't, or switch to long-distance mining. That's going to be the question, whether it can maintain this push. Raven does kill off one of the Stalkers. This has been quite a important part of Zozo's play, the counterattack. But oh, an Immortal gets down and actually kills off 2 of the tanks. So that may be enough to break this contain by DominionDog.
Yeah, I think there's just too much economy for Zozo, I think. Like, if he got on the top of the production, maybe, but even if that contain never goes down, it's just so much units. War Prism able to warp in on the other side of the map. And does the tank go down here? No, Stalker's trying to focus on the Marines, looks like.
2 Marines, 2 Medivacs.
Oh,
DominionDog seems to go home. That's interesting, saying mission accomplished, or maybe thinking it doesn't have enough supply. The Terran bot's also randomly building another barracks, saying, hey, I need more production. It may regret that decision. Zozo behind this still is on 55 workers. It's got an incredible production tab, so time is definitely on the Protoss' side. These Stalkers shooting at the Medivac. The tank is trading out, but the Medivac dies.
Yeah, just so a few minerals coming in.
Zozo's
we'll get a
cheese
handful of Marines. Maybe the siege tank on the high ground can allow him to slowly establish a natural, but
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what the requirements are.
Protoss.
What are the requirements for DominionDog to finally build an expansion? I don't know, maybe it's like a certain amount of units or something. It's down to 2 mineral patches. Those will soon be gone.
All that money being spent on repair. I've definitely seen DominionDog lose games where he's had like 0 minerals and 5,000 gas or something like that, so there's a little bit of resource management, I guess, that would be handy for him. Marines are actually doing a good job. Phoenix aren't getting much
They are, yeah. The 1-1 upgrade's helping out. The tank at the back seems to be going home to get repaired again for DominionDog. That is leaving the few units it has left in trouble. A bit of a slow death, it seems, for DominionDog. It's producing a Marauder, a couple Marines, but it's eventually going to mine out.
Yeah, definitely a micro advantage, I think, for DominionDog in these fights.
Oh, yeah.
I will say the Prisms are making the cycle into completely worthless. As soon as there's a lock-on, before the first missile even hits, the War Prism picks up the unit that's affected. So the cyclone's basically doing 0 damage.
Switches to long-distance mining. That income has quite a discrepancy. 3,000 minerals versus 500 a minute.
Yeah, I do like that he pulled out of gas completely. So there is that sort of resource management where he's like, I need minerals, not gas. I got plenty of gas. I can go down to 0 there. Auto turrets might get a couple kills for free, but then that'll probably be the end of the game after that.
Yeah,
let's go down.
That DominionDog never did get up an expansion. It really was a back and forth bot game, though. Incredible redundancy from both of the bots. But yeah, DominionDog is just trickling out units and never getting up an expansion, unfortunately. Well played by Zozo.
Yeah, if DominionDog just cleaned up the initial attack a little bit faster, right? He held off like 6 waves of Zealots, and then the 7th wave killed every single SCV. You know, so if he cleaned it up after 6 instead of 7, completely different game. But yeah, very well done by Zozo. Both bots showing that they can adapt to a crazy game, and yeah, well done.
Definitely, that was so close there. That was like, yeah, I just think if DominionDog had just held him off for another round there, I think it would have been entirely fine. But yeah, no, but well done.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking great, right? Because it was like 2 tanks and 6 Marines against nothing, and the proxy dying. There was the 1 SCV mining that was the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Maybe if he just goes for the kill too, right after cleaning up those gateways, so it would have done it as well.
Oh yeah, totally. If he'd have just walked across the map there and sort of like moved into the base, that would have been game over, definitely. But sometimes you just don't know that though,
Yeah,
Is that
just
the
hard
real
to.
Max Packs in chat? I think it is.
Oh, hey. Always good to have you. But yeah, no, well done to Zozo. Into the 2-0 bracket, along with
No, it's not.
a few
Oh, well.
others.
I got baited.
And next up, I think we have your bot Ketroc. Hold on. And
Yeah, Ketroc versus Eris.
yep, Eris, our number one seed, beat out Terrain 1-0 in the first round. I think his first. I think Ketroc. Sorry, Eris holds the record now of first bot to break 2200 elo on our ladder. So I was looking at that
Yeah.
earlier.
I think
So
we've gotten this. I think he's probably gotten higher than that in the past. But the more bots on the ladder, the higher the peak will be because like there's more points to shove into
yes,
Eris's pocket. So
sure.
it's hard to compare like 2200 now from to 2400 last year. Like maybe the 2200 is more impressive. So I always go by the win rates, and
Yeah,
83% win
definitely,
rate for
but
Eris
it's
is pretty darn good.
It
pretty
is a
damn good.
very gross win rate. Yeah.
But honestly, that shows how strong the other bots are
Sorry.
getting because Eris at times was up around 94, 95% win rate. Micro
Yeah.
Machine's been there in the past too.
Yeah.
But now we got bots like, NegativeZero and Caninana and even Eris's other bots, like his Protoss bot is
Yeah,
beating Eris.
Deimos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
So,
Deimos is really, really good, and like I think Deimos has
mhm.
been in tournaments before as well. So, but not this one. We've got Eris, and against Ketroc, you were number 5 seed. Wait, number
I
9
think I'm
seed.
down there somewhere.
Yeah, number 9 seed. I think. Sorry, I
Yeah.
messed up the titles, so I don't know. Damn it! I knew I'd messed up something. Never mind.
I joined the ladder very late in the season, so I was still kind of on the rise when the tournament started. But I think I would
Yeah.
have been around there anyways. I think I would have leveled off around number 8, maybe number 9, something
So
like that.
I've just been informed that no, Eris's highest elo was 2471 from 2022, which was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
My God, that's insane.
Yeah, if we had like 200 bots on the ladder, he'd be like 3600 or something probably.
So there we go, guys. We need more bots on the ladder so Eris can get
Yeah,
more elo. Yeah,
exactly. That's why Raspberry keeps making more bots.
yeah,
He screwed up by making Deimos too strong, so he wasn't feeding Eris, but the rest of them. But
yeah.
yeah, so this one kept tracking its Eris. In a best of 7, obviously I'd have a 0% chance, but I think my bot has a couple strategies that have a non 0% win rate. So there's a couple that in a best of 1 maybe. And I think my bot's smart enough to pick those strategies when facing Eris. So
Yeah. I guess map probably changes things a little bit as well. So
Yeah.
let's,
yeah, it's hard to say. Like, just the luck of the game. You do the same strategy 10 times, and one time it wins. And I was like, why? What was special about that one? And it's hard to even figure out what went well.
Yeah.
It just did the same thing, but it worked better. I don't know why.
Okay, let's see how it goes. BC macro is the strategy for your bot, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, so spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, it is the red Terran Ketroc. Meanwhile, in the top left, it is the number 1 bot on the ladder, the blue Zerg Eris. Yeah, so there's 2 strategies I thought I might choose. It does like this mech all in sometimes, and honestly, it's not even a TVC build. There was a tournament where I was like, I have nothing that works against Eris, so let me just bring a Protoss build, because anything is better than a 0% win rate build. And that actually kind of works a little bit. You just get a bunch of tanks in Eris's face, and he might have some issues with it. This
Tanks
is
are pretty darn
actually,
good. So.
yeah, this is actually the build that's won me the tournament versus Eris, the last SC2 AI tournament. It was a macro BC build against Eris, but that was 2 years ago, and that build has now gotten stronger, and Eris has gotten a lot better against BCs. So
yeah,
now he builds corruptors. Now he uses like neural parasite, and
the bot authors of Eris definitely address individual problems with their bots. Like you don't see something beat Eris for too long consistently.
yeah,
They patch things pretty quickly.
it does in a way make it easier to develop your bot when you're at the top, because like I've had like windows where I'm at the top and it's like, okay, I'm beating everyone except this bot is doing this strategy and it's beating me.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you can be like hyper focused on just that one thing that's beating you.
Yeah,
Whereas the rest
that
of us
is,
on the ladder is like we're losing to everything at all times. So we need to like work on everything for our bot. Yeah, I used to see against Eris, also against Micro Machine in the past. You find like some like little thing that works against them, it's not going to work for long. They'll be having
Yeah.
updates out within a week.
Yeah, and it really is impressive. The developers of Eris, they've been consistently patching their bot as long as I've been casting bot matches, it seems. So, like they've been incredibly dedicated to this project, and their results have shown that it pays off.
Yeah. So BCs are one of those units that can kind of overwhelm if you just get enough of them,
Yeah.
As long as you're playing like somewhat defensively until you have your abilities off cooldown, and then you send out 12 BCs, that's basically 12 instantly dead units.
Yeah.
One of the major things that I improved on my bot is now smarter with Yamato, where
Okay.
if I send 12 BCs and there's 12 corruptors, it's smart enough to individually Yamato each of them. It's not going to put 12 Yamatos into one corruptor. It's not going to do one at a time and wait for each Yamato to finish. So it's able to like spread out the Yamatos in the correct way.
That's definitely a big efficiency improvement for your bot. Your bot notably gets the Overlord of Eris. That's something cool that is kind of unique to your bot as well. The Marines moving out to grab the early Zerg Overlord. That's something that's really paid off, it seems, with your programming.
Yeah, that's something I wish Terran players actually did more often in human play. I don't do it either because I love opening CC first. But if you open Barracks first, I love when people just open Marine instead of Reaper, because it gives you so much opportunity to pick off those early Overlords, and you can often get two. And
yeah,
Zerg players often send their Overlords in the exact same paths all the time, so you almost know where they're going to be and when they're going to be there.
Yeah,
so you
they
get
don't
two
like
quick
to
early
change.
Marines, and you pick off, and it's like, I'm not a Zerg player, but I imagine it must be like overwhelmingly disastrous to lose your Overlord at the start of the game.
Oh yeah,
Like right when you're trying to like really ramp up your economy, and like boom, now you're down a larva, your supply blocked, you got to spend 100 minerals on it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, well, if you watch like a really close match and then the Zerg loses at the 20-minute mark, and it's like, what went wrong? I lost my Overlord in the first 2 minutes of the game. You can kind of point to that sometimes. So I do like what your bot has done in the early game. Killed that early Overlord. That slows Eris down a bit. Goes for the CC first. Gives your bot a little bit of a boost. And macroing hard is definitely one of the ways to overcome Eris, as it is an incredibly greedy bot in the sense that Eris doesn't attack till at least the 8-minute mark most games. So that can kind of give you a license to be greedy with your own bot.
Yeah,
now
that's exactly what my bot did. It was it's basically surviving off a bunker with like a couple of Marines for the start of the game.
Yeah.
Really trying to rush out the fusion core and having enough money that the moment the fusion core finishes, I got that 800, 600 to start like double BCs.
Yeah, we do have Eris. Okay, going for a Nidus Worm and an Infestation Pit. So I think we're going to be seeing Swarm Hosts versus BCs. Now, I did see a game that was this exact dynamic between your bots, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So
yeah.
We'll see where this goes.
So I said in a previous game that when Zerg units are burrowed and not moving, there's no visual cue. And unfortunately, I haven't coded anything into my bot to like kind of like remember where I last saw Swarm Hosts, or if you see Locusts coming from somewhere, there must be Swarm Hosts there. So that's like one of the definite weaknesses in my bot, is that they can't track down where Swarm Hosts are when they're burrowed.
We do have 2 Overlords for Eris. One of your battle cruisers locks onto one battle cruiser locks onto the other, and I believe those are probably Nidus scouting Overlords. So those dying is actually massive in this match right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they were about to plant a Nidus Worm right outside my main, which would have done basically damage right up until the end of the game. So
yeah,
shutting that down immediately is a big win for my bot.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what adjustment Eris will make here though with that.
Eris panics a little bit, throws up 6 Spore Crawlers upon seeing your 2 battle cruisers, which it absolutely needs, but they're not done yet. Yamato Cannon going to delete 1 Queen, Second BC probably has a Yamato cannon ready to go, and there it is. Engaging the queens, avoiding the spore crawlers mostly, and then just getting on top of the queens. That's incredibly aggressive BC behavior, but it's working out.
Yeah, these BCs are pretty smart. They like to kill off queens, that's for sure. They like to avoid spores when they can.
Look at that, Eris tosses out Locust. It's like, units!
They definitely love to kill spires. There was an interesting machine learning bot tournament where one bot was doing swarm hosts, and he was really trying to kill void rays with Locust the entire game, and he ended up winning somehow. The caster had already called the game over, and the swarm host bot came back.
That's incredible. We do have the swarm host for Eris being hampered by your battle cruiser in the middle of the map. Swarm hosts are burrowing to stay safe. This is actually ginormous for your bot, if I'm not mistaken, because these swarm hosts would be dealing damage on the other side of the map. Instead, they're planted like potatoes in the ground.
Yeah, I mean, they're not on my side of the map, but at the same time, my BCs aren't on his side of the map, so
that's
they're
true.
also keeping my BCs from being hatched. We both really want to kill each other.
Yeah, and let's see, your bot is floating a command center over to right where this Nidus Worm is going to be. SCV is repairing that armory. It might not live for long. Swarm host hitting the planetary is actually probably all right for you, if I had to say, as it's just soaking damage and won't actually die.
Yeah, 3 o'clock look is like under big attack as well.
Yeah,
you're about
okay.
to, yeah, that planetary is not done, but the Locust got distracted by something, so that command center will end up surviving. So this is actually a big deal if these bases can stay up. That's that fourth base is probably going to be key to get up to a large amount of BCs.
Kind of the divided attention of Eris right now. We do have just battle cruisers, but there is a Raven flying around for your bot as well. It'll be interesting to see if that ever paths over some of the swarm host, so they can be killed by chance. And let's see, BCs and the Raven are chasing down some of these swarm hosts. Oh, no, they're actually going after the Overseers still. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate because Overseers are way faster than battle cruisers, so that might be a chase to the end of time sort of a thing. And these BCs really need to be defending and keeping these
Nidus dies. Eris does replant the swarm host, so a bit of interesting interactions going on right now. What's the current battle cruiser count in this game? Can we see the units have 6? Eris just fired up 8 corruptors, so now your bot says it's Viking time.
If that base actually gets landed and turns into a planetary, that'll be a great way to defend my main base, which is under constant assault. Yeah. So
your bot
losing the Nidus, he lost the creep block.
Yeah, and here's the thing that Eris's units do. They refuse to burrow if there's a Raven present. They'll only burrow if they think they'll be safe. So anytime that Raven flies around, the swarm hosts do start running around, potentially being exposed. A turret is also being attempted at that 5th base, which has landed. That could be absolutely just pivotal when it comes to seeing these swarm hosts or keeping them back to base.
They do so much damage, though. Even just
they
those
really
6.
do. I think it'll stay alive. Oh, your bot does cancel.
Give up on that, yeah. BC's getting on the offense, though. Let's see what's going on that side of the map.
Yeah, killing more queens. There is 15 corruptors out, though. And what's on at the 3 o'clock position? That base of Ketroc's is being attacked.
Yeah, that's just been a huge sink of money for Ketroc, unfortunately. He keeps building more SCVs, bringing them over there, and then losing all the SCVs to each Locust wave.
Yeah, we'll have to keep eyes on the supply, whether your bot is actually able to build up in the supply and potentially get better trades as time goes on. Definitely losing lots of SCVs. That 5th base seems to be attempting to land again. Looks like there's also a 6th to the north of that. Hellions flying or driving around, getting some harassment. That's very cool. Locust are trying to break this planetary, but their attentions are divided. Like, they kill a turret, they're trying to kill some SCVs sometimes, it seems. And so they haven't cracked this planetary. Can we please see that 5th base? Okay, so that's landed. Not a planetary, no turret there yet. But there's no swarm host there anymore. Battle cruisers are harassing. And can we take a look at the 6th base as well to the north for Ketroc too? Okay, so that's blocked by a lane.
something my bot should be able to handle. I'll send a Raven over there at some point when it has auto turret energy. BC count getting up somewhat high, and they're on the offense here, so that probably means our cooldowns are available. The one thing I'm worried about is the SCV's lost this game. I imagine that every Locust wave is just killing off like 6 to 10 SCVs, and so having all these bases may not even matter that much. 88 workers have gone down this game, yeah, so it might look like a nice economy for Ketroc, but I don't think it's ever really kicked in.
The SCV death spiral is definitely a thing. Looks like we see some battle cruisers tossing out Yamato cannons as the Corruptors and BCs engage each other. A few battle cruisers have unfortunately gone down. We are seeing more Yamato cannons get tossed out, but you got to kill a few Corruptors per battle cruiser that dies, and that's just not been the case, as your bot really does plummet in supply. Eris is a killer as always, grabs another battle cruiser, and they're just feeding in one at a time. That one does escape, but there's probably, what, like 2-3 BCs out now? It's not not good.
And since this economy never really got going for Ketroc, that doesn't mean like there's like 4 BCs building at a time. Like the initial set of BCs really had to be the ones that would slowly win the game. Maybe if the Storm Host went down, but I don't think they have. There's a lot of them out there just still constantly killing off workers.
Yeah, the death spiral is real. You're too busy making SCVs, so you can't make units, so then you lose more SCVs, and that's exactly what's happening right now, is no units are being produced. Eris is just an absolute beast. There's nothing else to say. The Swarm Host strategy is incredibly cool, that the bot authors took the time to program in, using a unit that's seen quite rarely, even in pro games and bot games, so yeah. Just incredibly difficult to like, as far as trying to approach Eris in a match, like, it's not easy to do, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, in principle, I think BC Rush should do well versus Storm Host. You just gotta code your bot to be better than Eris, and that's obviously the one thing that's really, really hard to do.
Yeah, what do you think is like the main thing to focus on next? Like, just try to deal with the Swarm Host, maybe remember where units were or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something in general I think that'd be a good addition to my bot, is just like remembering where burrowed units were. Trying to think of other examples besides Swarm Host, but like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, but definitely for Storm Hosts, especially if they like to burrow them. You get to make them a target.
Yeah, the unlimited
efficiency. There, that can send my BCs there, and then if I know they need detection, I can send the Raven with my BCs. I think that's all kind of coded into my bot. It's just, you know, knowing where the Storm Hosts are and prioritizing going there.
Yeah, remembering where they are, maybe treating them kind of like a burrowed wing or something like that.
Yeah.
So then you can just dispatch something to push
and
them away.
I feel like that's similar to for like Tempest and Siege Tanks, for instance, because they can shoot from off the screen. So after each shot, you lose vision of them, but my bot still remembers that, you know, hey, there's a Siege Tank up on the top of that ridge. I just need that sort of same thing for burrowed units. Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how this game plays out, with that being the case. Like, little things, like if your BCs weren't chasing the Overseer, maybe it would have cleaned up the Swarm Host, then you lose less SCVs, and yeah, an incredible showing by both bots. But the champion does remain the champ. Well, the top bot remains the top dog.
Yeah, 2-0 now for Eris.
Absolutely incredible game.
Doing well.
Well played by your bot as well, Ketroc. That was, I think it chose the right tactic. It just kind of like, Eris has been upgraded a lot recently, so, you know, it's definitely a strong play against Eris anyway.
Like, I'm glad it chose that build, because that's one of the builds I said that has a non-0% win rate. So I had a tiny chance of taking that down. I definitely have builds that are like 0-47 versus Eris, so the BC build is not one of them.
Yeah, I did cast a game that I think was a draw, I want to say, between your bot and Eris.
Yeah, no spoilers, but it was a draw because my bot just decided not to win the game at the end. It was like 15 battle cruisers versus nothing. He's like, yeah, let's just let it draw.
That happens sometimes, you know. It's like,
yeah, that was a cool match. It was like a 40-minute mine out the entire map game.
Yeah.
Yeah, these I think that was the case in the last
SC2AI tournament, wasn't it? Where we had the final Ketroc versus Eris, and every game was really close, and you mined out the entire map for all of it. But
Yeah, I was doing more of a BC rush in that game,
yeah,
so like I never expanded beyond 2 bases, and I put on a lot of pressure. But yeah, I remember it was interesting. I think I called the final game in that best of series thinking that I lost. But my bot in the meantime with this extra mineral just builds a bunch of Marines. And he just happened to have like 60 unupgraded Marines, and they just kind of marched across the map and changed the whole game for me. So
that was crazy.
pretty cool turnaround the final game. Yeah,
I remember that.
that was a good tourney. At least for me. I mean, I
Yeah,
won
very
it, so I
good
thought
for
it was a
you.
good tourney.
Yeah. Any tournament you win, it's a good one. All right. Next up we have, ThomTest. Seeded 12th, had the upset win against Caninana in the first round. That programmed in .NET, so another one of the languages that's not so heavily used, apart from Thheo, who made .NET very popular. But
Yeah, another bot with a new framework for .NET. I think there's more frameworks than there are bots in with C#. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy. But no, it's really well done. And unfortunately, after taking down one of the favorites in the first round, it gets shoved up against NegativeZero. NegativeZero, a former champion, a fantastically made bot. Mind me, has been away for a while and comes back, and maybe one of the favorites for the whole tournament.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's number 2 on ladder, so that speaks for itself. Regardless of how ThomTest does against NegativeZero, though, I say even if it loses this match, like still winning a round against Caninana should put it in all right standings in the tournament, right?
Yeah,
So that was still a huge win, regardless of how today goes.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. ThomTest hasn't lost yet, so we'll see.
It's true.
Stop counting him out already. He's got a chance.
I'm just referencing what the bot author said in chat last week, but we'll see how it does.
There's always
one weakness to NegativeZero. I think it hasn't spent a lot of time at the top of the ladder like Eris and Micro Machine has. So it hasn't been like hammered with people just throwing out all sorts of cheese ideas at it. So it may be a little bit susceptible to gimmicks, we'll say, but yeah, his standard play is like top notch. The way he selects the right compositions to beat his opponent, you can combine that with perfect micro and perfect macro and really good build orders. It's hard to find a weakness in that bot, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, let's see how it goes though.
Let's go.
All right, spawning on the right-hand side, I guess that's the top right, it is the Red Terran ThomTest. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, coming out of retirement, he's very much like one of those bots that are retired at the very top. But coming out and now back to like battling with Eris for the number 1 spot, it is the blue Protoss NegativeZero.
Okay.
Setting up a pylon. I guess that's where the Reaper jump is, right? So he might have a bit of a Reaper wall built into his bot. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just building random structures there. Yeah, okay. I guess that's a little bit vulnerable to like a low ground siege tank attack.
Yeah, not that ThomTest is going to build any siege tanks,
no,
I don't think.
I don't think so.
ThomTest, sort of like 12 pool bot, it does one strategy incredibly well, and it's had great results with it. Took down Caninana last week. It climbed very high on the ladder when it first came out. And we'll see. Maybe it can pull off a successful rush against NegativeZero. NegativeZero is scouting out. And no natural, sees the 1 Rex.
And I will say most... Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
I just will say most Terran bots on ladder do prefer like a mech style. Like either like, Banshee Rush or going into like mech with tanks. So strong bioplay might be something that NegativeZero doesn't have a lot of experience against. And like his style of, just kind of like using Phoenix and containing with Stalkers, that might be something that doesn't work well if you're just kind of stim a whole lot of Marines struggling to their face. So
Well, that's exactly what ThomTest is building to, and ThomTest, like NegativeZero, has got fantastic micro. We do have an eBay building for ThomTest, so it will be able to fire up that +1 attack upgrade as the production just ramps up. This is a bot that really benefits from the speed mining, just the amount of stuff it can get out off of one base real quickly. As it's just incredible as that +1 starts. Reactors on the way, extra racks about to finish up. It's gonna be coming.
Yeah, speed mining is really nice. It's like as a Starcraft player myself, once I started speed mining, I realized you shouldn't really use human build orders anymore because you can optimize build orders to be better. Once you get
Oh,
like it's
yeah.
not much, but an extra like 7-8% minerals, like I can get the orbital before, like I can take the gas first and still get the orbital, like so I don't have to choose between the two. Or, if
Yeah, exactly.
I can go
And
like gas first into expand and still be able to afford double orbital when the barracks finishes. Like it changes all these little timings, which is really
yeah,
cool.
it definitely does. And you can see the bot authors that haven't really put in like adjusted for that extra minerals, because you will see things like a bot floating like 500 or 600 minerals before it expands or something like that, and it's like, hey, it could have got that down a little bit sooner. We do have an adept for NegativeZero inside the main base of ThomTest. It is still there. ThomTest is 2 Marines chasing it, and it does kind of corner this adept, so getting some good damage on it. The adept may actually go down. It does go down, so that is quite good for ThomTest not to be distracted or potentially lose workers to that when it does want to move out. So really good for ThomTest, shutting that down quickly.
Yeah, I think he took like 5 hits to his workers, but I don't believe he lost any of them. He was also walling out the shade, so the shade got in because there's a Marine standing on the wall, but the shade could not get out anymore. So that was a one-way trip for that adept. Yeah, it's a nice defense.
That's the little thing that, like, the building placement mattered in that adept getting killed. Like, that's the little variation we see in bot games. Like, the code doesn't change, but the maps and just little things like that can completely affect the result of a game. So, just like in other games, ThomTest could potentially still be getting harassed by an adept, but now it's just charging across the map. It's got those Marines, Marauders, NegativeZero. I don't know if it's ready for this or not. Like,
Yeah, he's going to have to rely on that really good micro he has. He probably will have Blink done in time, but he has no shield battery. He does have a Warp Prison to help micro. Yeah, he doesn't have enough. Like in theory, this should be a losing fight for NegativeZero. Let's see how well he can do with these stalkers.
yeah, we'll see if there's a probe pull. The Stalkers are just trying to outposition the bio right now, but they're not shooting at all to soften this up. ThomTest is charging on in right now, just going right into the main base, bypassing the natural, and it's going to start shooting some of these pylons. That could prevent NegativeZero from warping in reinforcements. We'll see.
Oh, he's going to depower three gateways.
That is huge for ThomTest. That is just complete production shutdown. Reinforcements seem to be getting killed by the Stalkers, but the main base is just being absolutely ransacked right now.
Yeah, so the Stalkers are smart enough not to engage until they have enough. So they're worried. The flanking ones are able to pick off reinforcements, and now that he has a full surround, I wonder if he'll even pull the probes to help. But yeah, he's definitely taking the fights.
Yeah, the blink is huge for NegativeZero. The fact that that's done, it's lost
very
quite a
key
few
to this.
probes.
I don't think many probes went down. He kept all those probes alive in the mineral line. And they're going back to work now.
Yeah.
So big economy for NegativeZero still. Still has a ton of stalkers, but he can't spend his money, which is a problem. So that might make this follow-up push a little bit weak, as he can't reinforce.
Yeah,
And
ThomTest,
if somehow ThomTest can crush all these stalkers, which I don't think he can because it's NegativeZero with Blink. But if he could,
concussive shell though, so that just finished up. So that may improve the success of this bio a little bit, having that concussive shell upgrade. The Prism also got killed, I believe. If we check the units tab, NegativeZero is building another, but it's not there yet. So Stalkers won't have that. And if NegativeZero goes up this ramp, that would be perfect for ThomTest. NegativeZero immediately nopes out of there, though.
Yeah, very well done. Can't just save it, decides to go back home. And ThomTest is moving out. I do like that. This window is very tiny here. He needs to attack before NegativeZero gets his production back and spends his money. and
Yeah.
actually NegativeZero's got his production back and he spent his money. So
Yeah, an Immortal on the
Um,
way, a Sentry on the way. Army supply and upgrades are still in favor for ThomTest, but it's going to take some big micro mistake. Or honestly, just NegativeZero will just have to not micro like a god for ThomTest to have success, but it's done that so far.
yeah, his army actually isn't that much bigger. He spent it mostly on gateways, a forge, some upgrades, Warp Prism. So this still is an
Yeah.
army lead for ThomTest. We saw this last week where the second attack looked like the game was over, then second attack won the whole game. Here
Can
we go.
ThomTest
Very
do
nice
it?
position for NegativeZero with a nice concave.
Yeah, Guardian Shield is big as well to reduce the damage of this bio, and NegativeZero is perfectly pulling these units back. ThomTest is eating through the shields on all these stalkers, so they may start to go down, but it is losing massive amounts of bio just as this fight drags on. I mean, it might get the odd stalker here and there, but so far, NegativeZero has just done a beautiful job defending this.
Did he even get the odd stalker? He put a lot of damage into pylons. He got pylons, but man.
He got a few, but just great
Yeah.
trade for NegativeZero. So ThomTest's second attack falls short. Unfortunately, there is going to be another small wave crossing the map, it seems, but I think those bio units are going to have an even more difficult time.
Yeah, I think NegativeZero definitely has him mopped up now. Yeah, I think like fighting around your own structures is something that's really hard for bots to counteract.
Yeah,
like when your unit is off cooldown and there's a structure in range of you, it's hard to tell your bot you probably don't want to shoot that. Wait
Yeah.
until a real unit comes in range because you know like one cell further is a stalker. You should save the attack for that stalker. But with so much cutting back and forth, and you just end up shooting whatever like the best target is in range. Sometimes that best target ends up being a gateway or a pylon, and then it just ruins that battle. Because he did have like a large army size lead for that fight, and he had decent upgrades too. But he just got mopped by NegativeZero.
Well, yeah, NegativeZero, it just retreated basically to give itself as much time and then actually fight on its buildings, which went incredibly well. So NegativeZero will counterattack and kill ThomTest. This is kind of what I was referencing. The bot author themselves of ThomTest said, yeah, NegativeZero came up with a counter for my bot. So the bot author of NegativeZero did some work after losing a few games to ThomTest, and now it is.
That implies he was beating NegativeZero at one point. So
It
that's
was
impressive in itself. Yeah.
I did cast a few games that ThomTest did beat NegativeZero. But yeah, now ThomTest may need to. I'm not sure how you'd approach that if you do want to beat NegativeZero in the future. I don't know, change the build up or something. But well done by
Just put it in
NegativeZero.
like 2 years of coding work, and then maybe.
Yeah, just like that. Just chat GPT, bro.
Just go into that evolution chamber and then come back, and then you're good. But no, I did like the way it was very, very laser focused on taking out the production with its first wave. It did get mopped up, but like if that had anything behind that, it could have been very, very deadly. But...
Yeah, I mean the one major accomplishment of the first attack was depowering the gateways, and even I think he even killed them too. But yeah, that left like this 3-minute window where NegativeZero's army didn't get any bigger. But unfortunately, he's NegativeZero, so he didn't leak a single stalker on his counterattack, and he was able to spend his money. And by the time the counterattack did come, he had even with the smaller army size, NegativeZero stalkers are just so good.
Oh,
the way they concave out and blink back and save themselves with the prism, so good.
I mean, the micro in general from NegativeZero, like stalkers and like adepts, is just crazy, crazy good compared to everything else. So really well made bot, and like I said last week, it's so good to see him back on ladder. So hopefully,
not just back on ladder, but actively receiving updates.
Yep.
The bot author, when they first activated it, they did say, "Oh yeah, just reactivating it, not gonna update it or anything." But it has been receiving some updates, and if it hadn't, it possibly would have lost that game.
Yeah,
so,
Tom was saying he had a 60% win rate against NegativeZero on the ladder, and so obviously there's been some updates there to counter that build, which was really good. So well done to NegativeZero, and ThomTest still very long way to go in this tournament, so still on the 1-1. All right.
My suggestion is try out Stim.
Yeah.
NegativeZero can't out micro you if your units are faster. You know, just Tim and jump those stalkers. They can blink once and then that's it. Then you kill them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Problem with Sim is you can only do it so many times without medevacs, but
Yeah, it's true.
it's also hard to code because it's very decision based, which is tougher for bots. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I always suggest new bot authors go with combat shield, just because like that will always be helpful. Stim, you might
Yes.
end up making your bot worse because of bad decisions on when to stim, but
No,
yeah,
absolutely. All right.
if you do it well, you might be able to beat them.
So we're down to our final game of the evening, and it is our only random bot, Team Xena, with
Yeah.
Xena. So coming out
It's a
seeded
tried and
3.
tested micro machine. Yeah.
Yeah, seeded 3. Beat a 12 pool bot. There's no longer the 12 pool bot in the first round. So yeah, and up against our seeded 4 micro machine. Coming in with a win over Thheo in the first round, and that was close. That was so close. Yeah, so actually it's got an ELO of 2018, which matches the year it was first on the ladder.
How about that?
Wow. Back when the ladder was Crypt manually running games on on Windows or something.
Yeah, literally, like it was just me and a little Windows box I had downstairs that was just running all the games. That was fun. Originally, we only allowed C++ bots on the ladder because they were all built in DLLs, which were built into the ladder software. I am
Yeah.
so glad we don't have that anymore.
Yeah. And now
Well, yeah.
the bot games actually run on Linux in a headless client, which means StarCraft 2 without any graphics. So
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, there's a version of StarCraft 2 that has no graphical engine associated to it.
Some will say that's the main engine, but no, I wasn't. That's just the way all the pros play. Don't worry. All right, let's get into it. I am
You see a
sure.
pro and he's just got like a screen that's like the Matrix in front of him.
Yeah.
See like random.
I don't
characters
see
running down the
circlings
screen.
anymore. I just see
Ones and zeros.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so spawning in the top left, we have the random bot spawning a Zerg this game. It is a Xena. Meanwhile, in the bottom right, the many-time champion of this tournament, the Blue Terran Micro Machine. Still hanging in there. No like real logic changes to this bot. We'll say in like what maybe 3 years now, but he was just so good back in the day that he still hangs around the top 10, top 5 bots on the ladder.
Yeah, it really is just a testament to how good it was that it's competitive at this level. Yeah, I did see something there. Xena saying unknown opponent against Micro Machines, as far as like the build selection goes, maybe. So that's interesting.
Maybe he like refreshed his data or something.
Yeah,
Doesn't have any like information about previous opponents or stuff.
Yeah, it does make me wonder if that's gonna maybe mess with Xena's build selection a little bit if it doesn't have the access to the win rates or something against Micro Machine. We do have a command center first for Micro Machine, and Xena is going for a hatch pool. Could we actually pull up chat to see if it says what build Xena selected? Yeah, just
Zerg build macro, I guess, is the
Zerg build macro. Yeah, so this is going to be really exciting because Xena so rarely macros, but when it does macro, it is just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, he's missing some elements, we'll say, of the late game, but it is, this is not like a cheesy one-hit wonder bot. This is a bot that has like a lot of really developed code around like micro and macro and stuff. So
yeah,
he's maybe just a few pieces away from being like one of the best endgame bots, but he can definitely do it. He does prefer the cheese though, just because it works well for him.
It definitely does. It goes for macro. I think I saw one match. It was like 2% of the time or something. Like, okay. And I would say that its best macro is its Zerg macro though, which we have here today. So that's going to be really exciting. Xena, like, it does have phenomenal macro. Like, the one thing that I'll note is that it does just play with like a general composition. It doesn't adapt its composition at all. It mainly builds like lings, roaches, and hydras. It never builds corruptors or anything. So that could be significant if Micro Machine does end up going into battle cruisers, which it sometimes does. For now, though, both bots just being very respectful as they have expansions on the way.
Yeah, I think this macro build might work out well for Xena, because Micro Machine did a very, we'll say defensive build. Even though he went CC first, he built it in his main base, and then he kind of defended up, used a Scout Reaper, and now he's planetarying his natural. So these are all good things for a bot that's opening 3 hatch and building a lot of drones.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be interesting to see whether Micro Machine can, say, harass or go for one of its pushes against Xena early on. Like, as this Reaper drives around, but it may go down, but it doesn't because it's a Micro Machine Reaper.
Oh, but there's no jump there, I don't think. You got cornered.
Isn't that a jump?
Oh, that is a jump. Yeah, I can see the thing there. So we have no information about that in the API, where Reapers can jump or not. You can just like add them to the low ground and hope that there's a jump there, or you can hard code something per map. But we don't know anything about Reaper jumps, which also means it's hard to wall off Reaper jumps for that reason as well. So Micro Machine does get his like basically his +2 SCV hack, which is putting the bunker down between 2 gas geysers and basically allows him to mine with 2 less workers.
Yeah, that's a map dependent bonus that Micro Machine does get. Not every map has those 2 gases beside each other.
I think there's one map where the main base, natural base, and third base all have 2 gas beside each other. That's like perfect for Micro Machine.
And there it goes as SCVs get to work very quickly.
It is one of the cool things that bots can do that humans really can't, is like always be changing the amount of workers you have on gas based on your resource needs.
Yeah, definitely. Some bots.
So human can say like, "Oh, I'm going to switch all 9 of my gas geysers to 2 on gas from 3," because that would take you like 30 seconds to go around and click all those things.
Yeah.
But a bot can like be constantly like changing up like, you know, their thresholds for like how much gas or minerals they want.
Yeah. You'll have to forgive me. I'm just going to step aside for 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem. So Xena is clearing up some rocks here. He doesn't get distracted by a Marine, although I would say a Marine is probably more important than killing random rocks on the map. I honestly got to say, I don't even know what these rocks are for. is there something exposed under there, like a Zelnaga tower? It seems like very random in the middle of the map. But it's not blocking the expansion base either.
Probably some hidden treasure.
Or are they like, I can't remember the name of that guy. The guy who created StarCraft 2 back in the day. Dustin Browder rocks, the folding rocks, the ones you kill them and then they collapse onto other rocks.
I don't know.
No, they're just random rocks.
Just random
doing nothing
rocks
in the middle of the map.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Like that is really weird. They're not blocking expansion bases. They're not blocking a path.
No.
Weird. Meanwhile, we do have Xena hammering away at this new base, so he might eventually get the council there. Although the queen does step up.
Yeah. Seems like
when I say Xena, of course, I mean Micro Machine.
Seems like a bit of a waste when that could be running across trying to take out some workers, though.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, whether you want to attack a base that has no workers or go to a base that could be heavily defended.
Yeah.
Interesting that he's not cloaking. Oh, there's an overseer. Never mind. There's no reason to cloak. The Banshee's smarter than I am.
Okay, so I love
yep, so we haven't missed
machines.
much. We did lose some destructible rocks to their deaths, but other than that, a little bit of Banshee harass. Both bots kind of building up.
Rest in
Xena
peace,
noticeably on a full 5 bases here, but now he's going to have to face the constant pitter-patter of Micro Machine units always being across the map.
They really do, but I was just going to say Micro Machine's composition is something that's always so funny to watch because it just ends up with like the most random units like pushing across the map. It's like, I got a tank and 10 Marines and 3 Hellions. It's like, okay.
And you'll ask yourself, like, okay, where's the front line of the attack? And the answer is just yes. Like, everywhere is the front line. There is no
Yeah.
concept of, like, army when it comes to hit micro machines. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to attack you in 9 different places when I only have 9 units.
No pooling of the, well, no significant pooling of the units or anything like that. They are all just like alive, it seems.
It does make you wonder, like, how much of it is, like, pooling units is strong and that's why humans do it, and how much of it is because that's all the way we have to control units, right?
Oh,
If
I
humans
think
can individually control units, like how often would they choose to have a big army, and how often would they choose to have like 9 different attacks in 9 different places? You know, every attack being weak, but yeah.
Probably, yeah, probably a lot less, I'd say, because yeah, I mean, if you can micro your units all at the same time, you can always find some damage and harass your opponent. The Banshees of Micro Machine are doing work being out on the map, killing off some of the Lings of Xena. Xena does have Infestors on the way, Hydras and Lings. That is the composition that its Zerg macro does like to stick with. So we'll see how well it does. The Zerg bot isn't quite maxed out, and I don't believe we've seen Xena say it's going for an attack in chat, but we may see that soon.
Yeah.
I'm curious, yeah, because Xena usually does declare its attacks before it goes for them.
Noticeably, Xena did an amazing job of spreading creep. He actually does it faster than any other Zerg bot on the ladder, but then Micro Machine also did a very good job of cleaning up that creep. So at least he's like cleared the paths between his own bases and cleared the expansion bases that he can take in the future.
Yeah, Xena is going for an attack at the 5th base, it declares. As Roaches, Hydras charge on in, there is a couple tanks for Micro Machine, but Xena's just going to dive right on top of that with its great micro, splitting up the Hydras, but gonna shut down the 5th base of Micro Machine, it seems. It hasn't killed it yet, as it engages the army and tries to go even further, killing off the tanks, targeting them down. Xena is being aggressive and doing a great job at it. Micro Machine is going to lose all its tanks. It does have a BC in the sky now, which is going to be harder to pick off, but all in all, that was a very successful attack for the Zerg bot.
Yeah, doing what Zerg does, just overwhelm with superior numbers. I was a little worried at the start of that attack because, you know, Xena does have a few weaknesses. One that was there was like all the Zerglings ran in and died before the rest of the army came.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. There was so much more of the army that he just like walked over.
Neural parasites on the battle cruisers. It even teleports them just to the same location, I guess, to burn their teleport.
Yeah,
that's one approach to shut them down, and very impressive that someone who has a random bot that only macros like 1/10 of the time even has specific programming for that. So really cool to see. And yeah, the attack of Xena is still going on. Micro Machine doesn't have the best economy right now. It's got a lot of Zerg units inside its main base, but the battle cruisers may be able to clean this up. We'll see.
Yeah, there's definitely not enough Hydras there. The battle cruisers are being hesitant, but here's the thing I was about to say. There's so many more Zerg units elsewhere that cleaning up your main is still not even enough, especially as you'll probably lost all your workers by this point.
Yeah, Xena just attacks absolutely everywhere, and it's doing a great job at it. Micro Machine, like, it's killing off lots of Zerg stuff, but there's just always more Zerg stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to the start of the game. Just a huge economic lead to start the game for Xena, and didn't really bleed any units. And when he did decide to attack, he committed, which is something we don't see a whole lot with bots. But I love it when you do commit, because sometimes you're committing suicide, but like oftentimes that's about what you need to do if you really want to overwhelm, especially against like tech units like BCs and siege tanks that can pick away at you over time.
I do wonder if Xena has actually improved its Banshee defense as well. Like, it looked like it was doing quite well against the Banshees there. Whereas I definitely recall I cast a macro game of Xena's Zerg in the past, and like it was kind of undone by Banshees. So there may have been some improvement from the bot author there. And yeah,
he's definitely tracking them with the Overseers, so that the Queens are able to push them back a bit.
Yeah,
and this is the
really well done.
I'm used to seeing with Xena.
its creep is incredible, and well done, Xena. Brings down Micro Machine.
Yeah, nice work from Xena there. Turned the entire map purple. It's like
yeah, he's so good at that. So when a creep tumor finishes, when creep tumor is available to spread, it hasn't actually reached its maximum range yet. So whenever you spread a creep tumor, even if you do it like at the most optimal time, you're not doing it at the maximum distance. What what Xena does is he actually poops creep with his overlords in front of all of his creep tumors. So his creep tumors can always spread at the absolute maximum distance. So not
Yeah.
only is it like perfect macro for creep spread, but he's getting like extra distance on him with every single tumor. So it's really cool. You might, if you've watched a mini map of Xena games at the start of the game, there's like this wave of overlords on the mini map just kind of spreading out with the purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
Really neat.
It just always amazes me that the range of Xena. It's a random bot that just has so many different tactics and can do almost anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
must be competing with Tyr now for like which bot has the most builds. I know Tyr has like 80 builds that he
Tyr
doesn't
has-
use, but like Xena's got like 4 or 5 per race at least, so he's definitely up in the 10s and 20s, 30s maybe now.
Oh,
Yeah, it really is impressive just how good Xena is. I look forward to seeing how it does later on in the tournament as
oh,
it
definitely.
wins that round.
All right, let's just
Yep.
take a look at the results from tonight. So yeah, oh, sorry, I'll just have to get the cat off from the keyboard. So yeah, Xena winning there against Micro Machine. Eris taking the win against Ketroc. Zozo also on 2-0 and NegativeZero. There are 2-0 bots that will face off next week to see who will go through. In the lower brackets, Caninana beat 12 pool bots. ThomTest came out victorious against Thheo. And BenBotBC is dropping down with SharpenedEdge going onto the 1-on-1. And Sharkbot also on 1-on-1. So we have some bunnies in a tin to decide our next draw. Hold on. Cat, I think the cat wants to do this draw for me. No, go away. Yeah, go and piss off.
That's interested in the bunnies.
Oh yeah, she's definitely interested in that. All right, so we are going to do the top round first. So I think we only need 4 bunnies for this one. Hold on, I will remove the ones that aren't needed. That one's needed. That one isn't.
So as you set up the bunnies, describe to me how this tournament works.
So yeah,
So are the bots with 1 loss like completely out now, or do they still have a chance of coming back into it? Or
so all bots have a chance of coming back. So at the moment, so the way it works is if you win 3, you go through to the knockout phase. If you lose 3, you're out. So essentially, all
I
bots.
see. Okay, so first to 3. So,
Yeah.
So technically, even the 2-0 bots could be gone because they still have to win their 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even,
gotcha.
So basically, all bots play each other when they have the same record. And if you win 3, you go through. You lose 3, you go out. So let's just take a quick look. So the draw 1 will feature Eris, NegativeZero, Xena, and Zozo.
So these are all bots with a perfect record.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's have a look, and I will actually just get text back up so I can. All right. Okay. And here we go. Draw out the first bunny, and it is bunny number 2, and that is NegativeZero.
Okay.
That will face off against bunny. Oh, it's jumping out of the tin. And that is, oh, well, we have NegativeZero versus Eris.
All right.
Wow.
So our
Is the
first
stream
game.
okay? And you may have switched the scene there.
Oh, sorry. Um,
There we go. Okay, better than nothing. You'll have to
I'll
trust us on that. It was a 3 versus 2, so
yeah.
or whatever it was. So Eris versus NegativeZero. That means it's also going to be Zozo versus Xena then.
All right, we'll just do this one first.
Oh, those are the perfect combos, I think.
Number 4, and that will, yes. So Zozo up against number 3, which is Xena. So
All right.
I like
That'll be
that.
a
So
great
like the
match.
2 best bots against each other, and like 2 bots that are pretty cheesy versus each other, which always makes for some interesting games. Well, Xena may or may not be cheesy. We'll see.
Yeah, well,
And it's
we'll
got to be a
see.
tough game for Zozo because I think like Zozo is really good at like sniping the hell out of the weaknesses of his opponent, but like it's facing a random bot, it's hard to know where the weakness is. You don't even know what race you're up against.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Xena
so
is a wild card.
let's do our 1-on-1 draw. For this, I think.
Can you bring up the
Yeah.
yeah, okay, this is the visual.
So we have Micro Machines number 1, number 2 is Ketroc, number 3 DominionDog, ThomTest, Caninana, ThomTest, SharpenedEdge, and Sharkbot. Okay. We need to, so I think I've got a weird bug that whenever I bring up the actual tables, it disables the call for some reason. I don't know why. I need
It's
to
a
fix that.
Discord problem. You have to keep the window up.
Hold on. So I'll do that over there. That's good. All right. Okay. So yeah. Right. Okay. So we have first up. It is number 4, and that is ThomTest. And
Okay.
they will face up against number 3, and that will be DominionDog.
Ooh, okay.
So next up, it is number 1, Micro Machine. You just see them get taken out by Xena, and they will face number 5. So that is Caninana. Oh, another good matchup there. And next up is number 8, and that is Sharkbot, and will face number 5, and that is Caninana. Oh, sorry, no, number 2. That's number 2. That's Ketroc. Apologies. I was looking at it on the screen. I thought upside down, number 2. But no, that's Ketroc. Apologies. So yes, so you'll face Sharkbot. And up again is number 6 there. That is ThomTest. And up against number 7, SharpenedEdge. So that's some
Another
good matchups
PvP.
there. Yes. So let me just get this down. Is just write everything down quickly. So ThomTest versus DominionDog. And then Micro Machine versus Caninana. And we had Sharkbot versus Ketroc. It's a good matchup for your bots, or how do you normally do against Sharkbot?
I'm always disappointed with Sharkbot not doing more macro play in tournaments because he absolutely mops the floor with my bot in the late game, and my bot's like specialized in the late game. So I do love to
Yeah.
I love to see his late game. I think we might see it. He yeah, he gets a really good macro going, and then kind of this does these like forward shield battery cannon bays, and just oh, so good. The other thing I love about Sharkbot is he uses every single unit. So the long about way of saying I'm in trouble. I think Sharkbot's pretty good against my bot.
Yeah, just in the other case, how does your bot usually do against zealot proxies like
Yeah, that's
like
true as
terrain
well.
face today? So
It depends. I mean, if my bot walls off its natural, it's pretty good against that stuff because it can repair walls and whatnot. But sometimes my bot likes to go CC first, and that might be not so good.
We'll see. Right, I'm just
yeah,
setting
that's
this
something
up.
to look forward to for sure.
Right, I'll just set this up 1 second. Okay. Just give me 1 sec, setting this up. Okay, so this is for the bots that are 0 and 2, facing elimination, these ones.
Okay.
All right, let's move that out of the way. And which of the bunnies are going to pull first? It's number 1. That's 12 pool bot. Sorry, that one didn't want to come out. Sorry. Up against number 2, Thheo.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one. Oh man, that is cheese coming out everywhere. We are going to have number 3, BenBot. Wow, it's come out 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like, yes, number 4 against Terrain. So I will just note that down.
So next week we get our first 2 finalists and our first 2 eliminations.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that BenBot's facing elimination though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a surprising one.
Right.
If there is a bot to come back from 0-2 and qualify, I think that'll probably be the one.
It would be a really good run, wouldn't it?
He's one of those bots that's capable of beating anyone on a good day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I'm just getting this sorted for 1 second, and then. Oh no! Wait a second. And then we'll just confirm all the matchups for next week, and then. So ThomTest versus DominionDog is going to be a fun one as well. Sorry, I'm just noting everything down. Doing it live here, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, thank you for
Streaming and bin work. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yes. No, keep the big font.
Ah. I don't know why it's come out with big fonts.
I just deserve it.
Ah, wait. I didn't realize I had this on even. I'll switch back to you guys for a moment while I'm just writing everything down.
no worries. While Crypt is taking care of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to check out the patron for SC2AI, it's what funds all the servers and everything. And you saw Crypt and Ketroc talking about how far it's come from the past. And yeah, so if you want to support that, link is in the chat, and you can get various perks on the AI arena. Just star next to your bot. You can get a role in the Discord. You can even request bots to play certain matches. That's something that I make use of for my casts. So check that out if you do want to support the amazing project that AI Arena is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And for those watching on Twitch, check out Laughing Games YouTube channel where he puts up ladder games on the daily of our bots, so you can watch those and figure out which ones are your favorites, to cheer for in these tournaments. And I believe you even have a new channel, right? Laughing Gamed, which is more human SC2 games.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I decided to separate the two.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So just quickly going over the matchups again for next week. Actually, we're going to do it 2 weeks over. So wait. So yeah, NegativeZero versus Eris is our prime matchup, and then Zozo versus Xena. In the 1 and 0 column, we have ThomTest and DominionDog, Micro Machine and Caninana, Sharkbot and Ketroc, and then one test with SharpenedEdge. Some really good games there, like Micro Machine against Caninana in the lower bracket, in the middle bracket as well, which is going to be a really fun one.
Yeah.
And I still ended up with special font, so I think Sharkbot's dead.
Yeah. Sorry, they're all gone.
Oh no, BenBotBC's getting knocked out too because Terrain's got special font.
Oh, damn it! Sorry, BenBot. It's going to be great to see BenBot. I think BenBot can make that run, and if he does it from 0-2, that's going to be amazing.
It would be a great story, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There was this meme in ProBots back in the day where like every single round we would give our predictions, and we'd always predict BenBot to lose, and he would always win. Like final 3, it would be like BenBot, and he'd be predicted to lose in like the round of 32, the round of 16, the round of 8. He just upset.
It just feeds on
then we
people's
stopped,
doubt.
we stopped going against him. We learned our lesson. It's like let's start picking BenBot to win these series.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. All right, well, that's everything for this week. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for everyone watching, and catch you later.
Yeah,
Hey, guys.
thank you very much for having me. Take care, everyone.